And we are live. I'm Eric.
I'm Andre.
And I'm Richie.
And this is the High Empower Podcast coming to you live on YouTube. If you get a chance, please already like, comment, subscribe, go to our Instagram, like that, go to our Reels, like all those videos, do everything. Come on, guys. Because you guys are the fruit of all this, the roots of all this, you know. So thank you guys so much. How y'all doing?
Dude, I'm doing good. How you guys doing?
Bro, what a good week.
Yeah.
Crazy
Blessings,
week,
big
dude.
moves, you know. Guys, out of respect, out of everything that's happening this week, we lost a very loved friend. And I would like to take a moment of silence, a minute of silence that we can take just in honor and in all the love that we have for our friend. And that God may give this family strength in a moment like this, that God may come with everybody who's going through a tough moment right now. But we all know that he's in a much better place now. And I would like to take a moment of silence right now. Thank you, everybody. But we have a lot of great content going on today. We have super, super, super great knowledge coming out to all you guys that are out there trying to make your big moves, trying to take the next step. You know, motivation, I've heard this always, that motivation is what gets you started. Consistency is what keeps you going.
Oh, yeah. And we mentioned that in the last podcast. You know, we had Jay Briggs. You know, if you guys did not have a chance, go back and check that out because this guy was so funny, man. You know, it was, I had to watch my words with him because he would have caught me in like many tricks. And I was like, dude, I got to keep my eye on you. But other than that, you know, like you said, this consistency, the motivation he has to go to the gym, and how he used that in other aspects in his life. It's truly inspiring to see one of our friends go out and do that. One of our friends go out and portray to other people, trying to motivate other people to do the same, you know, and the personality, you know,
And
just comes with
live
it.
exactly what we're talking about every day here, right? That last episode, I mean, yeah, we were joking around, we were laughing, having fun, but everyone that has fun also has a serious side to life too, and to what they're doing. And it comes to show that, guys, you can have fun, you can be a clown,
live, bro.
you can have a great time, but at the end of the day, if you want to still take your life serious, you still want to hustle, you still want to chase after it, it all goes back together. It all goes together. There's no separating that. You know what I mean? It's all a balance in between all of that, right?
Yeah, bro. Especially, you know, you gotta, and you know, something at least that I take considerate, because I'm a type of person that, you know, I'm always on me. You know what I mean? I'm always like, yo, Eric, you can do better. You know, you can improve here. You know, and sometimes I have crazy motivation. I have crazy work ethic. I have, you know, crazy vision on one week, and then the next week, you know, it kind of like dies a little bit.
It's difficult.
So the thing is, the gold and the dust right there is to keep that motivation, even though when you feel weak, even though you feel unmotivated, and you keep pushing, you know, down that tunnel, you're gonna definitely find something. You're gonna find that light, you know. So and that's the thing I feel like a lot of people, they struggle with, you know,
Discouraged during the tough moments.
The lack of vision. You know what I mean? Maybe on that week, you know, there was a barrier that stopped you getting to where you want to get to. But, you know, the thing you have to imagine is, like, after that barrier, you know, just start a new one. You can start many trails. You know, this is not one trail. We have many trails to life. You know, just like a root for a tree. You know, a root for a tree, you have many roots until it gets to the big-ass tree. You know, and the tree is beautiful at the end, right? And lives for millions of years. And one thing that I can consider myself, you know, I want to make history. You know, I want to implement my tree here so people can know who Eric was for a long time. You know, and that what motivates me.
It goes back to, I think, our third episode, fourth episode with Carol. She said that the struggle is perfect. The struggle is truly what makes you who you are. The struggle is really, truly what teaches you the most valuable lessons in life. They're taught during struggle.
If you don't have struggles in your life, if you don't have problems, if you don't have difficulties, that means you're not pushing yourself. You're not going towards the award. So us. We have to learn how to deal with that, especially of new things that we're going to take on in our life, new things you're taking on in your life right now. You dropped a big ass job, a very good job that you worked your ass off for to do something else. Man, that take cojones. On dogs, that take cojones, bro. And you doing that, you're testing yourself because you know your capacity. You know the difficulties that come after that, but you know the capacity you have. You know you can sustain these difficulties to get to greatness.
Dude, I say this to my friends all the time. I mean, a relationship, right? And a relationship goes not just with people out there, but with yourself too. A relationship is not about only the good times. It's about the bad times. It's about the times when you're having difficulties. It's about the times when you're struggling. It's about the times when you want to give up, when things are being hard. That's when you're proving how loyal you are to that relationship. Yeah. Because like you said, some weeks they're easy. Just for us, man, we live it every day. Like some days are super easy, especially now I'm doing the gym now, about to hit 2 weeks. And some days I'm super motivated. Let's go. Lift up weights, go to the gym. And then some days I'm like, dude, I don't want to do this today, but it's just like, I got to do it.
That little fucker in your head.
Bro, I fight that on a daily basis. Exactly. Like I'll get home like, bro, am I going to go lift today? I'm just like, you know what? Let's fucking go. I got to go lift, bro. And then when I get there, that energy just hits.
Yeah, and it's crazy.
It's like literally after the first exercise. Yeah. After the first exercise you do, you're like, oh, I got this.
Just showing up is already, you're like, all right, I'm ready. Let's go.
I want to do a little intro before we bring Kyle in. Just talking about like, what we think, like, really, I mean, there's so much going on with the real estate market right now, right? It's crazy.
I love that we're bringing Kyle on because I need to immerse myself more in the real estate world and all this knowledge.
Me too.
I'm very like new. I'm like a rookie to the real estate game, and I want to put more money into it and just invest more of my time into it. And Kyle is gonna come on, dude. I think he's the perfect person.
Especially about like the mortgage side. That's where things get tricky. You got to get approved to get a house, obviously. There's pre-approval that people, kind of get stiffy about sometimes. So it's just like the little steps do you have to take so that you can get to the
tedious little things that you got to get out of the way, because you don't know. I mean, if everything that's new causes discomfort, right? So the same thing when you're going towards a process of trying to buy a house or trying to find out, do research on rates and everything like that.
Like this is not a car.
It gets overwhelming.
This is a fucking huge house.
Lifetime investment.
A lifetime investment. Big money goes into this. A lot of people pay houses for the rest of their lives if they don't know exactly how to do it.
Set themselves up the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, in my opinion, to invest in real estate, you have to have a plan and a strategy, and you have to have like an idea of what you're gonna do.
And your finances need to be in check.
Oh hell yeah, finances. Before all that, your finances got to be in check,
And Eric brought up the thing about starting from the roots to get to that big tree. So today, guys, we're gonna plant that seed for you guys to really get started in that journey for your real estate. Not only for us, but for everyone watching right now. Because remember, guys, our whole thing with this podcast is spreading this knowledge to grow.
I don't really know Kyle, but I heard he's a cool ass dude.
Yeah, bro, dude. I just talking to him before we started today. Like you can tell that. This good energy.
I called Kyle today. I was like, Kyle, just let you know, man, Andre is super excited to have you on. I'm going to tell you this. Kyle, Andre is that guy that likes to know about everything. He likes to read a lot. He's very knowledgeable about a lot of different subjects. But real estate, he told me it wasn't really something he's ever had the interest to really go deep into it. So he was telling me that once Kyle comes in, I'm going to listen to everything, take every note down that I can.
So yeah, guys, if I don't talk too much today, it's just because, it's all coming in here. It's all coming in here.
Guys, let's put that intro out right now. Let's have...
Wait. Sorry about that. Before that, JP, don't get mad at me, all right? Before all that, if you guys have questions for Kyle, if you have questions for us on the live chat, put them in the live chat, guys. I know you guys have questions. I know you guys are going to get interested in this stuff. So when you guys have a chance, anything pops up, anything that he says that may confuse you, or you have, leading questions to get to other topics, put it in the chat.
And real quick, true. Now that you brought that up, it made me think about a few things too. Listen, I want to first. I want to thank Luania for logging on. Thank you so much as always. John Thornton always with us. Let's go. And I want to thank all the other people who are watching live right now. If you're watching live, put a big W right now in the chat. I want to see that W right now, just so I can see who's
W
in
in
here.
the chat.
W in the chat. W in the chat. Put the W in the chat. I want to see that real quick. And guys, thank you so much for all the support, like yours, comments, calls, text messages, everything. And we're so grateful for everything that you guys are doing, all the support, all the love, all the care. And again, everything matters. Trust me, everything you do makes a huge difference for us, and we really appreciate you
notice,
all.
guys. We notice.
And we notice it all. All right, let's go straight to that intro. How's it clapping? Kyle Regan in the house.
What's going on? Let me get comfy.
Yeah, get comfortable. Yo, we got this
Mi
couch,
casa
you
es
know?
su casa.
How's the camera? Should he slide a little bit to the side? Is he good?
How's he looking? He's looking good?
I mean, Kyle always looks good. Look at that, man. Look at that hair,
Look
bro.
at that, man.
Look at that guy.
How you doing today, my friend?
Dude, I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm good. I'm psyched to be
Bring
here.
it closer to you.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Everyone goes through it. Don't
Now I
worry.
can hear myself.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing awesome. I was really looking forward to coming on here, being with you guys. I've tuned in to multiple episodes,
Oh,
watched
yeah.
you guys, and
you, bro.
big thing that attracted to me, like I've known Richie for a little bit now through Thais and the Winter Properties group. Shout out to them.
Shout out to
Winter
Lexi Winter,
Properties.
Winter Properties Group.
Yeah.
Lexi's definitely coming on soon too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, should be a wealth of knowledge. Killer. But Richie's always been super cool, full of energy. We vibed since like day one that we met each other.
He's all right.
So don't gas him up too much.
But I knew I'd have some fun.
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
hell yeah.
So I
Yo,
was
thank
looking
you for
forward to it.
driving, man, all the way here,
Right.
man. It really shows us, you know, the appreciation you have for us, man.
Commitment.
Yeah.
The
Hell yeah.
commitment, dude, especially for you to come here and, you know, show your knowledge in the mortgage and the real estate industry. Because like like Andre, sorry, I call him the because like Andre said, you know, me, myself, I'm not really as informed in this industry. And I would love to learn more because, you know, it's something very important. I feel like it's something that everyone should know.
Everybody.
You know, especially when you have the capacity to invest. You know, real estate is like one of the main investments that you should be doing.
It's one of the two biggest purchases in life, right? One is definitely a car, and then two is going to be your home.
Yep. Yeah, and an engagement ring. I learned that recently.
You just got married?
Yeah, I just got married in September, end of
Oh, yeah?
September.
We'll get into that. I
Yeah.
definitely want to get more
So
into
like
that.
like a full on marriage, or you proposed?
Full on marriage.
Married already.
Married.
Done.
It's legit.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of cool stories behind that. If we want to get into that.
Dive into
Yeah.
it.
Kyle, the first thing we really want to talk about is who is Kyle? Like, what do you do? Like, what's your speciality? What do you focus on? Talk to us, bro.
Yeah. So I am a residential loan officer. So my job is to help people get financing to buy a home. Or to refinance, which would mean if you have a home already and you have a mortgage, my other job is to try and save you money on your current mortgage.
That's always great.
But yeah. When the rates call for it, I know it's been a little tough now. Refinances, they're not super popular right now. At least rate and term refinances, like looking to drop your interest rate. But that's my gig, is residential mortgages. So I don't do like commercial loans or anything like that.
Yeah, I was about to ask you. So like, is there like a big difference of being a residential and a commercial?
There's a good chunk of a difference.
Yeah. licensing?
I mean, obviously, like the price difference is way, you know, probably way the difference is
Way
a
more
lot.
dramatic,
But,
Totally different.
but like as in handling the, you know, the someone being pre-approved or approved, there's a lot of more process to it.
It's totally different. It's totally different. It will, like, commercial loans are going to, it's more of like a business plan proposal where a bank is going to agree or not agree on, you know, the move you're going to do.
Basically
or
being
the-
your partner.
pretty much.
A lot of times there's multiple people too that invest to it, so, right? Instead of one person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're underwriting the business, your current business, or what you're looking to do in terms of like anything over 4 units in real estate is considered commercial.
Oh, okay.
Really?
So yeah, so like I can do anything at
Up to 4.
Up to 4. Yep. So anything over 4, it'll go into that commercial realm where the underwriting process is different. The requirements become completely different. Down payment requirements become different. But yeah, that's my thing is being a residential loan officer.
What got you into it? Like, what was this something like that kind of always interested you? Or you just kind of stepped into it and it became one of your things, or you just like dove into it?
That's a fun question, dude. That's a fun question. So totally unintentional. Like,
Really?
did not mean to get into mortgages at all. It was funny. Like my dad has been in sales like since I was a kid. That's what he does.
It's in the blood.
Yeah, he's a sales dude.
What did he used to sell?
So he still does it. He's like the best looking 62-year-old you've ever seen. Total
jeans
stud.
run deep, huh?
I was gonna say, I can see where you got the
Total
jeans.
stud. But I always was really attracted to the way he ran his day and the way he worked. Just hearing him on the phone, he's a super likable dude. He's full of energy. He's like the easiest guy to get along with in the world.
He got that salesman flow.
Wicked. Oh, it comes so natural to him. And I always loved that. I'm like, I don't know what the heck I'd want to sell, but I'd love to get into sales at some point.
Yeah.
My only thing, like when I was younger, is I was super unsure of what I wanted to do. So like I wasn't a big fan of school. So
I think the best
Hey.
salespeople come out of that situation.
that's kind of like what you see is like a lot of salespeople, they are unsure. I feel like at a younger age. And that was me. Like I was not a big fan of school. I never really.
I'm in that boat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome to our club.
Yeah. I'm at home. But it was never for me. Like it wasn't that, I would struggle. It was more so I just was uninterested, and I just wouldn't do too well. I didn't go to college at first, at least. So, that wasn't like in my game plan. Like I wanted to work right when I got out of high school. That was kind of what I wanted to do. I was like, I don't want to go to college right now. And all my buddies did. So like I got in and I worked for my dad's company for a few years. I was working at WB Mason, driving those bread truck looking things that you see.
Dropping off paper.
Yeah, literally. And it pays well, but it's grueling on your body.
For sure.
And there's not a ton of growth potential.
Yeah.
You kind of like
get
cap
capped.
out.
Yeah.
Definitely. You cap out at so many odd years. It's like you've kind of plateaued. And I did that for a few years, and it was really hard work. And I had this idea that I was gonna, because this is like kind of what my dad did. He started in the warehouse at the company he started
From the ground up.
Yeah, he worked his way up, and then he got a shot, and they gave him like some type of managerial position, and he just kept climbing. And in today's world, that's so much harder to do because college is like a requirement now at a lot of companies. And he would always tell me, like, Kyle, you need a 4-year degree to be a sales rep at WB Mason.
Which is sad to see because I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of good talent out there who don't have the college degree.
Right. And sales, like, they're not really teaching you sales in college. It's not a major.
Life teaches you sales.
Yeah, the
Without a doubt.
experience. The experience of you actually going out, for example, in cars. You going out and selling that first car. They're not gonna teach you like what to say. You gotta like we said. When Breno's episode, you gotta study the product, learn all about the product, and learn how to persuade the customer.
And learn about people.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle, you're saying that like you kind of tripped into this industry, like. How?
Yeah, so I realized, like, okay, I'm not going to climb my way up. I was working there for a couple years, and I'm like, no, this is not happening. I got to go back to school. So I enrolled in North Shore Community College in Danvers. I had been going there for a couple years. I was like right about the point where I was about to get the associate's degree and graduate. And they had like a really good transfer program. I had my eye on a couple schools, and I'm like, all right, I also need a job. So while I was going to school, I was waiting tables. It was perfect. You know, I was able to.
You had a plan.
Yeah, that was the only plan.
plan.
I had. Yeah. It was it was a plan that was like right here, with no vision of the future. But I'm like, I got to start somewhere.
Yep.
So I was waiting tables and going to school, and one of my regulars that would come in, I waited tables at Bertucci's in Reading, and one of my regulars that would always come into the restaurant. He owned a mortgage company.
Look at that.
Yep. So he would, we would always kind of catch up, and he was interested in kind of where I was at, and I always worked really hard no matter what job I did. So I was giving it my all. I remembered his name. I remembered his wife's name. I was definitely, I try to impress everybody. Right.
You knew how to treat people to make them feel special.
That's the name of the game, because waiting tables, that's another place.
That's a very common.
Game.
So that's I was going to say that earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt you. But that's another very common thing in the sales field too. One of the best salespeople out there, they come out of waitressing.
No question.
Yeah, I was a waiter for a
Andre
long
did
time,
waitressing
really
for a
long
bit.
time, dude. I think most of how I speak, how I treat people, a lot of it came from that, because you learn how to take a lot of bullshit and just keep a smile on your face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and then you talking about showing this guy, I'm sure you showed everybody love and attention, but once you kind of saw that this guy was all right, maybe I like what he's talking about, I like what he does, I'm gonna pick his brain a little bit. So you start it was one funny thing that I used to do when I was a waiter. Whenever I got those American Express the metal cards, the little heavy ones, I'm
black ones.
I'm yo, let me Google this guy. And every time I Google their name, I'd be like, oh shit, okay. And then I would go to him hey, aren't you blah blah blah? And he's like, yeah, that's me. And I would talk to him for a little bit, and they would
Tip just
tell
went up $50.
yeah, and they would tell me, hey, dude, it's it's just about getting known. I was curious too, because who is this guy? You got to be somebody to.
Why does he have a metal card?
Yeah, what the heck?
Seriously.
So it was definitely a good experience for sure.
Dude, no question. That, it teaches you, just like you said, you're dealing with problems face to face with people. So it's raw sales. Waiting tables is raw sales.
It is.
You're multitasking. You have to be organized. You have to handle problems with people face to face.
Quick about it.
Constantly.
And quick.
Yeah,
and
it's on the
your
spot.
feet. And you got to make sure that they leave the restaurant feeling good. And
Yep.
that's any sales, anytime they buy your product, you have to make sure they walk out of the door feeling good.
Because they can always come back.
Yeah.
And they want to come back.
Exactly. That was my best feeling. Whenever a customer would come back or someone would come back and they'd be like, yeah, I want to sit with Andre.
When you get
I'm
requested,
yes.
yeah,
I'm like, that's me.
you can
You know
just-
you did something right.
Yes.
Yeah. You can just see how networking is so important.
Yep.
Just meeting different people, knowing where they're coming from, knowing what they do. How you can get, how you can meet other people, where it can bring you. A lot of people, I know sometimes it's a problem, but a lot of people, they get scared to
reach out.
to reach
Show,
out,
yeah.
to ask the right questions. They kind of feel like they're invading people's bubble. Like another guy, one of my dad's friends, he said that he can never do sunrun sales because he doesn't feel right.
Dude, and that's
You know what I mean?
that's a huge block on the team. The little bit I've been there, it's not a job for anyone, bro.
It's not,
I've been shadowing
be a
for a week now.
savage.
It's crazy, But I mean, Kyle, you go, you're waitressing, you meet this guy.
Yep.
You see something there. How did it go from there?
Yeah. So he pretty much said, I'm opening up my own spot in Andover, right down the street. I was working in Reading, and he was like, "Take my card, keep
Right
in
time,
touch
right
with me."
place.
Oh my God! And I in the back of your head, every server always hopes that happens.
That's so
your
true,
knight
bro.
in shining armor comes in and saves you from the restaurant on the street. And it happened.
It's so true, bro.
It is so true.
So I followed up with this guy relentlessly. I'm like, this could be something legit. And I followed up with him, and he ended up reaching back out, and he was like, "Hey man, I'm up, I'm rocking. I got my spot open. I'd love to grab a coffee with you. Have you come in, check it out. We can have a conversation, and see if it's a good fit." And we went in and had that conversation, and I was super interested. I'm like, this is sales. I didn't even really know what a mortgage was at that point. So I didn't know if it was sales or if this guy's just sitting on a calculator all day.
Crunching numbers.
So kind of what would be the first position that you got into that, since you didn't know really nothing about mortgages and all that? What was the first thing the first job or task that he put you to do so you can already get into the routine?
Yeah, that's a great question. So He didn't put me, like, I got licensed right away.
Yeah.
Which was a good move. So
Which is the first step you have to take for that.
Yeah. If you want to, like, talk loan terms with somebody, you have to be licensed.
In the state of Massachusetts, you have to be licensed.
Have to be licensed. So that was the first thing where he was like, okay, I got a game plan. I'm going to have you be kind of like my right-hand guy.
Awesome.
And work on my files.
Hell yeah.
And be like my assistant. But you got to be licensed to talk loan terms, interest rates, go over payments with people.
That's kind of how Lexi did with Thais too in the real estate. She put her on the back end of things first, and then put her towards like, hey, face front with
Building
the
her
customers.
knowledge up, yeah.
Because it helps you. Because now you see everything he deals with, all the objections he deals with. You see all the struggles he deals with on his day. So whenever you're now facing that, you're like, oh wait, I remember he dealt with this way. Let me do it similarly. I get it.
Exactly. It was the best thing for me. I learned the ins and outs of the industry. I learned how to, problem solve. I learned what killed deals, like what
That's important.
The things that would come up that would bite you in the butt down the road. I learned what made loans go better.
The shortcuts?
Yeah, exactly. Like you learn the ins and the outs, and that was the best thing for me. And so I had done that for like 8-9 months, and I was doing a couple like friends and family too, and like he and the team would kind of help me through those just so
assist you.
they went smooth.
Yeah. He was a real mentor, yeah.
He was, definitely. And I always suggest that, like, get a mentor. Like, if you're going to get into any industry, especially sales, having a mentor that's going to kind of, like, walk you through that.
Pave your path, yeah.
Yeah, and show you how they did it.
One thing too, Kyle, I mean, you mentioned it a few minutes ago that, like, he hit you up.
Yep.
He had interest in you, but you had to follow up.
Yes.
And I want to bring a huge thing on that for people. Everyone who's watching us right now is this one thing. Opportunities will knock on your door, but they're not going to chase you. You have to go and chase after that too. Mm-hmm. Kyle, if you didn't take your action to go, even though he showed interest in you, you still went after him. You called him, and you were, like you said, you're aggressively calling him to try to get that first.
Showed initiative.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do that, guys. Because sometimes, again, my dad says this a lot. The horse will go in front of you once, fully ready for you to jump on him and book it. But if you miss that opportunity, it's gone. Yep. So don't miss out on the opportunity. And it's awesome that you did, because look at where you are today, bro,
Yeah.
And with everything that you did, I mean, you kind of tripped into this business. Everyone has a bigger purpose in what they do. What's your bigger purpose with doing this, with getting into, since the beginning, what was the biggest desire in your heart to, like, I want to take this there?
Yeah. So once I started to kind of like catch traction a little bit, right? He saw that, I recognized it, and the enjoyment that you get out of helping people through that. Like, I always put myself in like other people's shoes, like my friend's shoes, or like I used to think of like my mom or someone that would need a mortgage and like go need to do this, and it's wicked scary and it's super confusing. And they don't teach you this stuff in school,
which they should,
which is crazy. You know, they don't teach you how to get a mortgage or get a house, or what credit is and all this stuff. So I'm like, I consider myself like an empath, like I'm an empathetic person, and I would think like, man, like from like the bottom of their heart, and
making that process easy.
Yeah,
it's priceless,
and it's a huge chapter of their life.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people, even us, buying a house is a dream. You know what I mean? So you're basically like helping them realize, get a dream, accomplish a dream, and that's pretty cool, and especially that you said that schools don't really teach this kind of stuff. That's why these big guys, these millionaires, these billionaires, they're against these school systems because they're not teaching them what's really important. That's a very good thing to take note on.
So schools now are actually starting to teach about credit. Certain
That's
states,
like the best thing I've ever heard.
Certain states are requiring schools to start talking about credit, about tax, and how to file your taxes and things like that. Because think about it, bro. How do you leave senior year and you don't know how to file your taxes? How?
But they'll give you a freaking like $40,000 loan or whatever it is for you to go to college.
But they'll teach you how to get in debt for the rest of your life with college.
Yes, that's crazy. That's like the coolest thing I've ever heard. Yeah. I've been waiting. I mean, like, honest to God, been waiting for something like that.
But imagine like, we were talking about, our country in our last episode. Imagine, where our country would be if they taught these stuff. Imagine the capacity of the citizens here, where they would be.
Yeah, the economy will be
especially
much
with all the opportunities that there is in this place. Some people just don't know how to take advantage of them.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
the thing is, it's knowledge, dude. Like, if more people were knowledgeable, not just in that, but in everything, in all aspects, the economy would just be booming. It would be so much better. And yeah, that's definitely a key thing that needs to change.
So, man, you know what I wonder, and what everyone is, interested in, is like, how is the market?
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of touched on it a little bit.
It always depends on the year, how the economy is.
And it's a little crazy right now.
Yeah, right now, with the inflation and the steep interest rates, people kind of get scared.
Totally.
Especially with the word recession, they always hold people back. So how are things going?
Yeah, it's an awesome question. It's been a crazy couple years. Like the past since COVID, it's been wild. It's been a crazy ride. It's been things happening that even people that have been in the industry for 30 years had never seen before. So basically what happened was when COVID hit, the government, they were very scared that the economy was going to come to a complete
crash.
halt.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they were looking and people were losing their jobs. Businesses were shutting down, right? I mean, we remember so many restaurants and businesses, they couldn't open their doors to consumers. So they were really frightened of what was going to happen to the economy as a result of the pandemic. So one way that they've always been able to stimulate the economy and get it to spark like that is homeownership.
Yeah.
It's a huge, huge part of our economy is mortgages on the secondary market on Wall Street when they get traded as mortgage-backed securities. It's a backbone of our economy is the real estate world.
So with everything going on with the dollar, sorry to interrupt you real quick.
Yeah,
I heard that even if all these countries let go of the dollar, they're all basically getting away from it and all that stuff, this country, the dollar still won't crash because of the mortgage system in this country.
Yes. Yeah, it's the way the country's set up and our ability to have real assets.
Yeah.
So people can really own things.
Our land
here.
is worth a lot.
Yes, and it's theirs. It can't be taken back where in other countries if it's they just don't have the liberty that we do, or if it's a communist country, their land, their property
isn't theirs.
It's not it can be taken
theirs,
like
but,
that. So here the way that our country has been set up, the value of our dollar will still hold because what the people in this country own is actually theirs, and it's strong.
It's physical assets, yeah.
It's physical assets, exactly.
And survive within our own.
Yeah.
Scary, but
it's wild. So that was interesting to see. So they slashed mortgage interest rates, right? So they said, okay, we got to stimulate the economy. They cut interest rates. That's when our phones were blowing up like crazy.
Everyone's I want to buy a home.
Everybody, because affordability went up too. So when your interest rates come down across the market,
you can afford more house.
You can afford more house.
Yeah.
So our phones were ringing like crazy. Not only for purchases for people that wanted to buy homes, but people wanted to refinance.
Oh my, that's true.
So everybody that owned a home in the country
Was refinancing.
and it's like a shocking number of the amount of people that didn't refinance.
Really?
Which is crazy, but a lot of people.
You think it's because it's misinformation where they just didn't know, or it's
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think in parts of the country, people literally kind of live under a rock, and they don't watch the news, they don't look at their phone,
Because I was about to say, because if you have opportunity to get an interest rate lower than what you're actually paying, isn't that kind of a no-brainer?
most of the time.
Yeah. People don't have the resources to do that though.
Right.
And that's why we brought Kyle here today.
Yep. That's right.
I mean, Kyle, to put it into perspective, what was the difference on interest rates before COVID and then when that got slashed?
Yeah. So I mean,
what were the percentages at?
They were more in line with mid to high fours before COVID.
And then it went down to ones and twos.
It went down to mid twos. Yeah. I think low twos was the lowest I had kind of seen.
That's insane.
On a 30 year.
Yeah.
On a 30 year. A 15 year, yeah. I had seen 199.
So
it's crazy. It was wild.
Holy crap.
Yeah,
wild.
it's insane. I mean, especially for these people trying to I get the refinance 100%. I mean, because again, 1% on a car loan is not that much of a difference, but 1% on a mortgage,
It's a big difference.
huge difference.
So would you say like a 3 and a 4? Is that like average, like mid range?
That's like a healthier market. Like I would say four between 4 and 5.
It's high.
That's solid. That's
my
good.
dad's first home, he paid 9%.
Yeah.
Holy.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's nuts.
It's crazy. It's crazy. So, like, I mean, especially with everything, I mean, so all the information we're dropping on people right now.
Yep.
Kyle, is it the time to go in or is it not the time to go in?
It's an awesome question. That's the question of the hour.
It
That's
is.
the
I was
question
waiting
of
for
the
that
hour.
one.
So it all depends like what your goal is, right? So a lot of people will ask me, and I get this question like all the time. They'll say, is the real estate market going to crash?
Yup.
Never.
And it's not going to crash.
Because you hear it a lot from both sides. Like, it's going to crash. It's going to crash. No, it's not. It's doing fine. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it's the question I get all the time. People are still shook, and rightfully so. It's a complete mess of like 08, 09 from like the mortgage crisis. That was the wild, wild west. You know, it was they would give a loan to anybody and their mother with no documentation, with no vetting of the client. So the banking and mortgage world in 2008, 2009 was completely backwards from my level of the loan officer level all the way to the loan auditors in the government that were stamping these loans as like a paper loans.
They just said booked,
that
booked,
were packaged
booked.
crap. You
That's
know, so
crazy.
it was a complete racket. And so the amount of regulation they have put in since
Because
then
of that.
is incredible. So like, you know, we've had people come in and we got to do like mortgage retraining every year. And one of the women that would do our training, she no longer does it anymore. She was awesome. But she came in last year, like kind of as we were coming out of COVID. And she has a lot of relationships in Washington with representatives from Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and like these super high up people in Washington that govern mortgages.
Yep.
And she would say like, guys, they're looking at your industry as one of the strongest industries in the economy right now. It's super well respected. And it's so together because of all the regulation they put into place. So anybody that gets a mortgage today deserves to get a mortgage.
Wow.
Because of how much vetting we have to do to make sure that you
can
are going to
even
be able to
qualify.
repay
So
that
many
loan
pre-qualifications
back.
that go into it.
Yeah.
So basically, it's hard to get. It's hard to be approved then, for a mortgage.
In the current
Would you say?
market.
I wouldn't say it's harder, just because interest rates are a little bit higher, and home prices are a little bit higher. But people are still shocked every day. Like, you don't know what you're going to be approved for until you go and try. So like right now, the reason the real estate market is strong, and it's like it's always a good time to buy a home, because instead of like paying a landlord, because someone owns
Paying rent.
where you pay rent, somebody else owns that, you know, that's going into their pocket.
Yep.
They're either paying off their mortgage with it, or they don't have a mortgage anymore and they're putting your
Pocketing it.
rent right into their bank account. When you have a mortgage and a home, I always say it's like paying yourself every single month. Yes, you're paying interest on your mortgage, but you're still paying yourself and you're building equity.
Yes.
You know, that's like the biggest thing.
Throughout the years that you own the house, you know,
And
the
your
equity that's building up.
And your property value is going up too, depending, like, kind of anywhere you live, really, because it's, you know, it's always going to go up.
Yep.
Appreciating asset. You know what I mean?
And the demand to buy homes is still higher than the supply. So as long as that's the case, the values hold steady, and there's no risk of a crash or dropping values of homes. So there's a ton of demand, especially in the New England area. There usually historically is always. The New England area was one of the quickest areas to bounce back from the recession because we have the best schools, we have the best hospitals.
It's Massachusetts, baby.
It's Massachusetts. It's incredible.
Living in this
you
New
know?
England area, I think, is like, I was talking, I forgot who I was, I think it was one of my coworkers, is living not just in Massachusetts, but New England in general. Like, people here are so like hardy, such strong-willed people too, because like, bro, it's to live in this cold, first of all, you gotta be tough, man.
Yeah.
I feel like it cranks out a lot more like sturdy people that are very invested in living in this area, because here it's like you said, schools, the education system is amazing here. Raising a family here is so beautiful, like, and everything just correlates with each other perfectly. The programs they have here to help you access homes and things like that, it's such an easy process.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's always going to be a sought after area,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
I actually I forgot where I read this, but I said that, people aren't really trying to sell right now. It's kind of like, there's more buying than selling, because the interest rate was so low, like last year or something like that they want to hold on to it, or something like that. Is that true?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why the inventory has been lower, is because if you have an interest rate that's locked in at 2.99, and you're looking at interest rates today, luckily, and we can get into this in a couple minutes, but interest rates have been ticking down, which has been super, super helpful.
Nice.
But if you're looking at an interest rate of, 6%, and you're about to sell your home and lose your 2.99%, and you got to go get a new mortgage, you're taking a 6% on your new home.
Wow.
So it all depends. It all depends, like what you're looking to do, what your family's needs are, what your goals are.
It comes to goals and strategy. It comes to learning how to mess with the equity of the house.
And before we get into that, like Kyle said, we're gonna get into the procedures and the steps to take to buy our first property. Let's pay some bills real quick, Rich.
Let's do it. Guys, one of our biggest sponsors here is Ivan's Collision Center. Guys, I actually met up with him today, and he's extremely happy with everything that's been going on our podcast. He sends us big hugs and all success to us. Had a really good conversation with him today. Ivan has 25% off for every student that hits him up. If you get into a situation where you crash your car, you need anything done, even if you want to customize your car, if you want to get tints, if you want to get your car detailed, hit him up if you're a student. 25% off out of the bat, just because he wants to help all those students in the area. Guys, Ivan's Collision Center, I say this every time, I'll say it again. He makes your inconvenience convenient. When you crash that car, from the moment you got into that situation, give him a call. He'll walk you through exactly what to do. He'll handle the insurance. He'll handle the towing of your car. He'll handle getting you paid. He'll handle your rental. He'll handle everything to the point where your car is fully detailed, looking sparkling clean, and ready for you to drive away with enter here in Framingham. This guy is the best quality work, super perfectionist in everything he does, always trying to, family-owned business, always trying to take care of everyone who's out there with his best interest and with all his heart. And 332 Irving Street, Framingham, Massachusetts. If you guys want to hit him up on Instagram, you guys can also hit him up on Instagram directly, ivan.collision.center. Again, ivan.collision.center. His address is 332 Irving Street, Framingham, Massachusetts. Thank you, Ivan, for all the support. If you guys need anything, if you ever crash your car, anything happens, just hit him up and he got you for sure.
Yo, speaking of family business, Newview Marble Granite is also a family business, man. Let me tell you about these guys, owned by my very own father.
What?
Yes, sir. He's helping us.
know.
He actually built this table. The legs are also made of stone. Look at this beauty.
Wow.
You know what I mean? He's helping us hold these mics so we can talk and give these knowledge. Not only that, if you're going to your kitchen, if it's looking boring, if it's looking like it needs an update, put a new counter on that bitch. If you have a vanity, put a new counter on that vanity. If you're tired of your shower walls, you don't want to mess with all the tile and the grout, put some slabs on those on those walls, man. I'm telling you guys, not because I work there, but because these guys do an amazing job. They're professional from start to finish. One of the best prices around, one of the best installation qualities, man. I see this stuff in person. It's actually crazy. Give them a call, 508-541-3909.
Say that number again?
508-541-3909. They're in One Master Drive in Franklin. It's a little bit of a drive, 20 minutes from here, guys. They have a bunch of slabs in stock, more than 300 slabs of not only natural stone, but quartz man-made product, which is very in. We have all colors.
Beautiful stones.
All stone. You've seen that. It's
Beautiful
It's amazing.
And guys, upgrading your home with stone and things like that, speaking of homes, it brings up the value in the house, because it's these things that these little TLC things that makes it perfect.
Yes, you know.
What does TLC stand?
Tender love and care.
I've always seen that TLC little thing. All right, living and learning every day. Let's go.
Yo, and real quick, does the chat have any questions or anything real quick so we can shoot at Kyle or just?
We have Fire Kids saying hip fire emoji. Let's go. Thank you, Yuri. You're the best, man. Appreciate you.
Always supporting us,
Always,
Yuri.
man. Always.
Go check them out, Fire Kids on Instagram.
TikTok.
They got the craziest basketball jerseys, all the ones you want.
All jerseys.
Yo, he blew up on TikTok because people will go in the comments and say, "Oh, you don't have this shit." He'd be like, huh,
Watch this.
Watch this."
So he created a little TikTok page, and every time he has a basement full of jerseys.
Yeah.
He made a little challenge where he goes, "All right, challenge me. Give me a jersey, give me a number,
And I
give me a
promise
name,
you I have
and
it.
I'll promise you I'll have it."
Name, number, and
Bro,
team.
people will bring people from basketball seasons from like the 90s, the 80s.
Not
and he's got
not just that, but like they'll be like, "Oh, you don't have Jordan when he played for Carolina, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh yeah," and he'll boom, bah, boom.
Man, this guy's incredible,
man.
and his
Hell
work
yeah. Hit him
ethic
up.
is
That's
through
awesome.
the roof. Through the roof.
All right, so Kyle, big thing we want to talk about is the purchasing process. We got a
Yeah.
little bit into that, you
Yes.
know what I mean?
Yep.
Kind of like, sprinkled a little bit of love on that, but I want to go deep into that, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because a lot of people, they want to make it happen, but they don't even, like you said, some people live under a rock, or some people just don't have the access to have that resource, or maybe past family generations weren't really into that. They weren't taught that as growing up.
And it's tough something too where you don't know a lot about it, so you're scared to get into it anyways, you know.
Without a doubt.
So let's say Richie Santos today woke up, I want to buy a house. What do I do?
Yep.
I mean, do I go single? Do I go multi? What do I do?
Yeah.
First, what do you need?
Yeah.
What do you need to provide?
Yep. So what'll usually happen, right? Like that's kind of how the gears get going. Someone's gonna think, okay, I think I'm ready to buy a home. I think I'm at that point. They might feel like they're at that point, whether they're in their career or they're just thinking, what the heck does this look like?
Yep.
And what do I have to do to buy a home? Usually the first place somebody is going to go is a real estate agent.
Yep.
Right? That's the first place they're going to go. They're thinking, okay, buy a home, realtor.
Real estate, yeah.
Buy a home, realtor. And they'll go to the real estate agent. Hey, I'm thinking about buying a home, whether it's a family, friend, someone online, whoever it may be. They're going to say, I'm looking to buy a home. I don't really know where to start. I figured I'd reach out to you. One of the first questions that the real estate agent is going to ask is, have you spoken to a lender? So that is really where the process starts. So if you are looking to look at what home ownership looks like, if you're thinking about buying a home,
Call Kyle.
yeah. 781-654-6964. Boom.
Put that number out again, Kyle. Put that number out again. I want to hear it.
781-654-6964.
And guys, we're gonna have all his socials too, guys.
Yes,
so
we
you
will.
already know what's going on.
Yeah.
But okay, they hit up Kyle.
Yes, so this is the first place to start. So like the pre-approval process is where you start to buy a home. And it's because the pre-approval is going to answer a lot of those questions that people have swirling around in their head. Things like, okay, where do I stand? How much is a bank or a mortgage company willing to give me for a mortgage? How much does it cost? What do monthly payments look like? I always will start with somebody and figure out what their tip top limit is to figure out, okay, what's the maximum amount of a mortgage that you can get qualified for? Not saying you're going to spend that much, but it gives us a stopping point. It lets us know.
Usually what goes into that, so you check like their financial history, if they're currently working, their credit, which is a big thing, right?
Yep. So there's 4 main parts that will go into a pre-approval.
Break them down.
So part number 1 is credit. Credit's number 1, right? So credit score it's important. It's
That's your
important.
camera right there, too. Just to let you know.
Got it. Boom. Credit score. Very important. So credit score is going to determine like the pricing of your loan and what products you qualify for. So like what interest rate you get is going to be determined by your credit score. And it's going to determine what products you can use and can't use.
Okay.
So credit is super, super
And by
important.
products, you mean like loan programs?
Yes,
Okay. Let's just so we can
yes.
translate it to everybody out there, so. you can
Yep,
understand.
loan programs. The better the credit, the better mortgage structure you're gonna have
For sure.
But there's
What?
which yeah, it's
I didn't even know that.
The minimum required is 580.
I thought it was
Yeah.
like 680
Yeah.
or something,
No,
670.
Yep, 580. So I've had like so many people come to me and say, I don't know if I don't even know if this is worth it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get pre-approved.
Is it worth it? A 580 credit score?
You can do it. So like
Yeah.
what I will really like to do is you want to start the pre-approval process as early as you possibly can, because you want to give yourself time to put yourself in the best position
To fix
possible.
whatever has to be fixed.
Yes.
So there's no like time limit. Like once you get approved, you can kind of just until you're ready, you can just go already and buy a home, or
So it technically will say that it expires in 90 days.
Okay.
Right? But it's really easy to re-up that every
I
90
see.
days.
Okay.
So like it's literally just a phone call. So if somebody gets pre-approved, it lasts for 90 days. Once that expires, all I have to do is just get on the phone with somebody and go over their finances and make sure nothing has changed. So I got to make sure that, income is still pacing the same, that they still have kind of the same amount of money in the bank or more. Has credit remained the same?
Cross-check things, yeah.
Yeah, just making sure everything's remained the same. And if it hasn't, if things have changed, you just got to account for those changes.
okay.
So keeping us real quick on track. So first thing you say, credit.
Yes.
Step number 1. Step
So-
number 2.
So credit score is number 1. Steps number 2 and 3 are like boxes 2 and 3 tie in together. So this is going to be your monthly gross income is number 2. Number 3 is your monthly credit-facing debt. So only debt that gets reported to the credit bureaus. So they're going to look at things like credit cards, car loans, student loans, mortgages. They're not going to look at cell phone bills, utilities, things like that.
Okay.
So when you're getting pre-approved for a mortgage, you're actually getting pre-approved for your ability to repay that mortgage on a month-to-month basis. So everything in the mortgage world is broken down to monthly
Month to month,
figures.
yeah.
So they're seeing how you're going to be able to pay that monthly mortgage
So
payment
that
back.
process is looking out for you to make sure that you can keep up with that mortgage payment and everything.
They don't want to
Exactly.
set you up for failure at the end of the day because
Yeah.
it's their money too. So
Exactly.
yeah.
It puts them at risk too. So when you're getting approved for a mortgage, you're ready to, you deserve it.
Yeah.
So they're going to stack up your monthly gross income. So they're going to take if you are a W-2 employee, a 1099 employee, whatever type of income you can that you produce, they're going to break that down into a monthly figure. And then they're going to look at your monthly debt, and they're not even concerned with balances of your monthly debt. They are concerned with the minimum monthly payments that you have to make to that debt.
So as long as you're paying it, they're like, all right, this guy's paying the debt or whatever it is. So he's up to his, he's keeping track of everything.
Definitely. And they're going to look at, like, say, for instance, you've got like a $6,000 balance on a credit card. And some people will be like, man, I got like $12,000 of credit card debt. But the overall payments on that might only be like $400 or $500 a month.
Yeah, because the minimal payment isn't the whole debt. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're paying it every month.
And
Yeah.
you're paying it every month. That's what we're concerned with, is that minimum payment.
But do keep in mind one thing though too, because you said number 1 was credit. If your credit cards are all blown out, your credit usage is high, and that means your credit is low. So they all tie down together.
Exactly.
At the end of the day,
They've got that when they built these requirements out, they thought of everything.
It all correlates, yeah.
They made sure that this was pretty much bulletproof.
we have a question here from the chat that actually ties exactly into what you said. You said number 2 is income and debt, right?
Yeah, money spent and money
Great.
made.
So the
Yes.
question here we have from Luana is, Kyle, how important are tax returns for a mortgage these days?
Yeah, really good question. So if
Good
you
question, Lou.
are a W-2 employee, right? So if you're a W-2 employee and you are paid either salary or hourly and you're full-time, right? So you're a full-time employee, they're going to be more so concerned with your most recent pay stubs and your W-2s. So your tax returns, we usually don't even need to collect tax returns if that's the only type of income that you get is W-2 income. It's going to be your W-2s and your most recent pay stubs, because your tax returns, when it's showing, like, your tax returns is kind of where your income all gets laid out and broken down from your W-2s or your 1099s or your rental income from your properties, whatever it may be, right? So we are going to use your most recent pay. So if you got a raise, say like somebody got a raise a week ago and they're salaried, right? And they make $80K a year and they just got a $10,000 raise to $90K a year. we can use that $90K a year today. Because it's
dope.
it's guaranteed income. It's
That's
W-2 income. Same thing as an hourly employee. If they work 40 hours a week and they're full time and they're making $18 an hour and now they just got a raise 2 weeks ago to $22 an hour, we can rock off the $22 an hour.
Because again, they look at monthly basis, so they can already.
Exactly. As long as we can see it in a pay stub, in your most recent pay stub, and see, okay, you're actually getting paid that $22 an hour for 40 hours a week.
That's dope.
But your tax returns are going to show lower values because that was your old pay rate. Oh. So that's why for a W-2 employee, they're going to be more concerned with W-2s and even more so pay stubs.
Okay.
Now, if you are a 1099 employee, right, or self-employed, that's where tax returns become a must. So that's where somebody's income is really going to be broken down. And the way that we calculate it and an underwriter calculates it is going to be directly from the tax returns. So if I do a pre-approval and a mortgage for somebody who is a 1099 employee, usually they're filing a Schedule C, which that's where their income,
expenses and
expenses
everything.
exactly is going to get broken down. Or they're self-employed, whether they might file a Schedule C, they might file 1120S's if they're like an S Corp. Tax returns become a must because that's how we calculate the income. So that's an awesome question. The other thing too is if you own property already, that's
income.
That's where your rental income is going to show
Sweet.
up.
Oh,
on your
shit.
Schedule E is what it's called. So on your Schedule E on your tax returns, that's where all your rental income is going to show up. So for anybody that has rental income or they're self-employed or they're a 1099, like a self-contracted employee, that is where, like a lot of the...
I just got switched into that.
Yes,
so
dude.
I was always
Yes.
on a W-2.
Yep.
Now I'm a self-contractor for Sunrun. I'm
Yes.
basically sales manager. I work for my own self. I have my own thing, and
Yep.
I'm paid on a 1099. And I mean, I have to wait a little bit now until I can buy a house.
yes. So like that's where it gets a little like it becomes a little bit tough because if somebody goes from W-2 to W-2'd income,
Yep.
right, and their salary or their 40 hours full time, and they go into a 1099 position or a self-employed position where they open up their own business, you typically have to wait 2 years to get that under your belt to show 2 years of
Proof of income.
There's ways around it, but that's not the law of the book. But
That's
the easiest way to do it is waiting the 2 years, right?
exactly. There are ways to get around it. There are certain loan programs that will potentially ask for 12 months. There are certain loan programs that if you're looking to buy an investment property won't even look at income and they're just going to look at the cash flow of the property. So that's kind of like just an industry standard to keep in mind. So if you are going from W-2'd, if you're a salary or hourly employee and you go and try to start your own business or you're going to go into a 1099 position, it's something to keep in mind that if you're pre-approved too, or you're thinking about getting pre-approved, it might push you out a little bit.
Okay.
Now, if you flip that script and you look at it vice versa, and you go from 1099
To W2.
or yes, then they will let you use that income right away
Oh, cool.
because it's guaranteed income.
So they're looking more to like the future of like how consistent the pay coming in is going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But but the W-2 doesn't have to. Isn't the W-2 like a year-long statement of what you made a year long?
Yep. But if they can see that you're salaried, they're going to look at that income as guaranteed.
Basically,
Yeah.
W-2 is when you have the deductions and you're paying all your taxes
Yeah.
up front, your state, federal taxes, your Medicare, and everything up front. So
Exactly.
at the end of the day, that's very consistent.
it's
and
guaranteed pay, like you
guaranteed,
said.
Yeah.
It's
And,
guaranteed.
and when someone provides that, don't they have to provide for like 2 years or 3 years?
Yep. So they're always going to look to make sure that you've had some type of employment for 2 years.
Yeah.
So that you've held a job in general for 2 years.
Consistency again. Yeah.
Yep. Now, another question that I get all the time that's a good one to bring up while we're on this topic is if I go from job to job and I remain a W-2 employee or a 1099 employee,
I've heard this.
it doesn't set you back. So if you're a W-2 employee and you go to a different W-2 job,
But you're still basically kind of maybe earning the same.
earning the same, even less or more,
That clock doesn't restart.
it doesn't restart.
Well, let me ask you this, Kyle. Does it have to be the same industry?
Because
I've always heard that it has to be the same industry.
As long as a W-2 or salary, it's going to be the same.
exactly. If you have commissions involved, that's where it can get a little dicey. Because like say I go and are car salesmen 1099 or are they W-2?
W-2 now, because state of Massachusetts forced every dealership now to pay everyone hourly on overtime and on what they do.
Yep.
So now they have to pay every
commission?
So now what they do is that they pay every salesperson an hourly wage,
Got
but
it.
they discount that from your total commission at the end of the month.
Okay, that makes
So it's kind
sense.
of like a draw type thing.
Yep,
Okay.
yep. And we have to do that in mortgages too.
Yeah.
Like there's a draw pay.
You have to. Massachusetts now you have to. So many dealerships got sued for that and had to pay out
Big money.
millions of
It's
dollars.
because of overtime stuff.
It's because of all the past years.
I've been hearing
They
about
weren't
this.
paying people overtime. They
Yeah.
weren't paying people for Sundays. They were just basically slaving away all these salespeople. And at the end of the day, bro, the dealership's making all the money, but all
Yeah.
these people are giving up their time and their hours. But
Yep.
that's a subject for a whole different day.
Yeah.
I have
Like
a
if I were to go to his gig or his old gig or like go work for Richie, right, and go
Yeah.
try to sell cars, they're gonna look at my commission as a mortgage loan officer and say, you could sell mortgages, but we don't know if you can sell cars. You got to prove yourself
Okay.
through showing years of like income
Makes sense.
in that field. But if you go from salary to salary, and I went from a salaried position and I was a school teacher, and then I went to a salaried position, and I went into like an account rep at a big company. They're going to let me use that income right away because they're going to look at it as guaranteed income. It's not going to
Yeah.
change payslip to
Dope,
payslip.
dope.
Is it possible for you to be on a W-2 and a 1099?
Yeah. Yep.
And how?
Because a lot of people, they work for someone, but they also have side businesses and
Yeah.
other investments and things like that. So then how do you use a conjunction of both?
Yep. Which you definitely can. That's an
How?
awesome question.
Does it make it easier or better?
It can make it better. Any additional income is always
Everything's better.
Always better. It's always going to help you.
So glad
get
to hear
approved
this.
for more.
That's why, guys, buying a multi-family lots of times will bring you a lot more benefit than buying your single family first. Because at the end of the day, explain that, Kyle.
Yeah. Yep. So,
Just dropping fucking dimes in these
He
days.
is, bro. Dude.
I love this.
yeah. So the multifamily thing. So the real quick, fourth part.
Oh, yeah.
Remember how we
Yes,
said four
yes.
parts? So first credit, second.
You want to be part of our podcast, man? You're doing great. You're doing great. You're doing
I'm
great.
having a blast. This is fun.
Fourth point.
Number 4.
Yeah, number 4 is assets. So they got to look to see, okay, does this person have the money on hand to buy a home? If they do, awesome. We can give the pre-approval. If they don't, we have to hold off on the pre-approval and get a game plan to see, okay, where's the money going to come from? Are we going to set a game plan to save the money? I help people do that all the time. Maybe they're going to get a gift from their parents or family. That can happen. Am I going to take a loan on my 401k? But number 4 is assets. So they're going to look to see, do you have the money on hand to buy a home?
So when you have the money on hand, is that just like you having like a savings account with a certain amount of cash in it, or like they're also going to be looking like, can you maintain this home? Like, so for like, if you can you pay the monthly rent? If something happens, can you fix it? Because when you buy a home, you're not just renting anymore. It's not your landlord's responsibility.
Right.
You have to take care of everything.
a lot of liability
Do they
that
look
comes
for that
with
as
it.
well?
That's a really good question. So oddly enough, they do not look at that for like a single family situation, a condo situation, a 2-family situation. There are reserve requirements which are only going to come up in like 3 and 4 family situations and investment property situations
Makes
where
sense.
they're going to see, okay, if this person gets in hot water and they don't have any tenants to rent out those other units in their property,
Oh, shoot.
do they have 3 months? Do they have 6 months? Do they have 12 months of put aside payments on hand to cover that
maintain
mortgage?
that, yeah.
If they have vacancy, if
Okay.
they don't have tenants or tenants stop paying them, whatever it may be.
Perfect.
That makes it harder than to purchase a 3-family, 4-family because of that.
It can, and the reserve requirements are typically low on those. So it's typically
It's realistic.
It's typically 3 months. So on the multifamily thing, like that stuff excites me.
Yeah?
Like that's like I would say like one of my niches in this gig. It's something I love walking people through and doing with people.
We had long conversations about that already. Yeah,
big time. Yeah. And that was something that, again, my old mentor, like, walked me through and showed me the value of, hey, when you buy your first home, it's got to be a multifamily. And I never understood that. Like, nobody...
Is that what you did?
Yeah, that's what I did.
We'll get into that.
Nobody in my family ever had owned a multifamily. You know, like they own single families. You know, and but no one that I know in my family owns a multifamily.
I think most of the times when you just buy that single family first, you kind of get trapped in the rat race.
Yes.
Where now, for you to get that second home, everything around you kind of goes a lot harder.
It's a lot tougher. It's
like you said, it's another expense. It's another debt now, because now it's not considered as an income. So now that's just another thing piling up on your odds to not make it happen.
Exactly.
And don't you have to live in that multifamily house for a certain amount of time?
Yeah. So that's a great question, Eric. It's so important to map out your first move. So, like, if somebody is thinking multifamily
Strategy, guys.
yeah,
Write this down.
Get a notepad, get your phone out,
Yeah.
write these things down, guys, because this is free knowledge that we're giving out.
we're about to get into the good stuff.
And Kyle's a living example
good
of it. I mean, Kyle, before you even get it, how many doors do you have?
9, 10.
We have two.
Yeah. Yeah, good
We
amount.
have to.
Boom. There we
And
go.
when we say doors,
Damn.
guys, these are all property that how many properties has he bought, how many apartments he has, how many units he has that he's making money off as residual income coming in, right?
Yeah.
So passive income coming in.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I mean 9 you said.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Damn.
let's talk about that I mean, actually, one thing before financially, you talked about that.
yeah.
What should people not do when they're trying to buy a home?
Yes.
Because people do that all the time. And I think you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yep.
Which is, get into it, because the whole qualifying.
Yes, very important. Very important. So, like we were talking about, those parts 2 and 3 of that pre-approval process is income and debt.
Yep.
That makes up what's called your debt to income ratio.
DTI.
Yes, which is a super common term people always hear pop up, debt to income ratio. Debt to income ratio is going to determine how much of a mortgage you're going to get qualified for. So credit determines the pricing you can qualify for. Your debt to income ratio is going to determine how much of a mortgage a bank or a mortgage company is willing to give you. So when Richie knows what I'm going to say.
I love how you just like chuckled.
Because I had to get rid of my baby.
Yeah, it's tough. I know. It's fun to spend. We all love to spend money.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. We work hard. We like to spend money and live life.
Rip the Band-Aid, Kyle.
Yes.
Tell them.
So you want to keep your debt as low as possible. You don't want to go out and like buy a new car and have a super high car payment.
Buy a GTR.
That car was
wink,
so
wink.
sick. That car was so sick. Oh man.
Hit it where it hurts.
So the more debt you have, right? The higher minimum payments that you have, credit cards from buying luxury stuff, car payments. This is going to raise your debt to income ratio and lower the amount of a mortgage you're going to get pre-approved for.
Wow.
So that is like step number 1 is like try your best to keep everything the same.
And I would say like one of the major factors that people get disqualified from buying a home.
Yes.
Credit cards, cars, and...
Big time. And then it's like not even throwing into account like student loans.
Can you explain that one more time? Can you just explain it again so I can just it goes through my head and it stays here because
Yep. So like the lower monthly payment debt obligations you can have, the more of a mortgage you're going to get pre-approved for. So the cheaper car payments, people that have cars that are paid in full,
Great.
Money.
the best you could have for your pre-approval because there's no payment affecting your debt to income ratio when you go to buy a home.
okay.
Lower credit card payments. So you can always look at that and say, okay, what's my minimum payment? The banks are smart. They're gonna jack your minimum payment up once they see your balance start going up.
Yep.
So your minimum payment might be $25 a month if your balance is $400 or $500 a month. If it's $6,000, they're going to jack that payment up to $300 a month.
Yep.
That payment versus what you make a month is what your debt to income ratio is going to be.
That's funny, man. This might be off topic, but for your credit to increase, don't you also have to have a number of accounts open?
Such an awesome question. That's why it's kind of funky the way that they've set the country.
It's like a loophole.
But it goes back.
You got to kind of teeter.
You're balancing. You're balancing.
It's like walking on eggshells. But at the end of the day, bro, it goes back to that number one, credit, right? Credit, no matter what, the number one is credit.
Yes.
So you need to do everything revolving your credit.
Yep.
You can have, ask me how many credit cards I have. I have 14 credit cards.
Holy shit,
But at the end of the day, I do a carousel with them. Yeah. You ask me what my usage
I
is.
have 2.
Dude, I tell people, because guys, think about it
That's
like
still
this.
really good. If you have one, it's good.
And
honestly.
I don't want to go deep into this, but just like real quick. You have 14 credit cards, an example of me. All it's doing is putting up my line of credit. Now, what's going to determine if I'm bad or good is how much of that I'm going to use.
The percentage.
Exactly.
Yeah, because they say that it's good for you to keep like below 30 or something.
They always say that. Keep
That's
it below 30.
perfect. Yep,
But you want to
30.
keep it perfect, pay it in full every month. That's perfect. You want to keep it okay, make sure you're not spending over 30.
That payment history.
Exactly, dude.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, man, the more credit cards you have, it's actually a good thing.
Yep.
Because now your line of credits are just going higher and higher and higher, and now you're a credible person for the bank. Am I right or wrong? Please correct me
Exactly.
if I'm speaking bullshit.
No, he's spot on. He's spot on.
but-
Like your usage is
It's everything.
low.
It's
Yeah,
everything. You know what I mean? So yeah. I mean, now going back to that conversation, I kind of cut us off on the multifamily.
Yeah.
Making the first steps.
Yes.
You took that step. You're 9 properties deep now.
Yep.
What were the benefits that they brought you? What were the challenges you dealt with?
Yes.
A lot of people say, I don't want to deal with multifamily because I have to deal with people calling me all the hell time. Tell people, man, be real right now. Like,
Yeah.
what's up? Like, talk to us.
totally. Yep. It's like it's the same thing as anything else in life. It's a little bit more work, but the juice is worth the squeeze.
Higher the risk, the higher the reward.
Yeah, no question. It takes a little bit more work, but the gain that you're gonna get is serious. So that was my first move. Was a multifamily. I was dead set on it.
1, 2, 3. How many?
My first one was a 2-family.
2-family.
Yep, was a 2-family. And it all depends. Like whenever I'm looking at a multifamily situation with somebody, the thing that always surprises them the most is if it's your first purchase. And the FHA loan is the best loan for, they call this a house hack situation, which means you can purchase a multifamily property for super low down payment. The FHA loan is the best product in the game to do the house hack with, because you can go 3.5% down on a multifamily.
And for people who don't know what an FHA loan is, what is it?
Yeah, FHA loan. It's one of the most popular loan products in the country. It's probably it's conventional loans, FHA loans, VA loans, USDA loans, VA loans. These are the most popular products in the game. FHA is really geared towards first-time home buyers, and it's geared towards like stimulating home ownership. So they came out with HUD, who like governs FHA, came out with FHA as a product to get more people
to buy homes.
Perfect. Yep.
Stimulate the market.
So
Especially people that are younger, right?
Yep.
it's a new loan, right? Like has it been around for a long time or no?
So it came out, I want to say it came out it definitely came out after the crash, for
Yeah,
sure. Like
for sure.
after 08, 09.
So probably around 2011, 2012, around there. Because that's when things started structuring around.
So it's been around for a good amount of time then.
A decent chunk.
Yeah,
A
it's still
decent
young,
chunk. It's a fantastic product. So you can use an FHA loan on a 1 to 4 family property.
Oh, cool.
And go 3.5% down. So when I say 3.5% down, it's 3.5% of whatever the sale price of your home is going to be. And you can do the math right on your calculator. So you can look up a sale price on Zillow of a home and open up your calculator and do times 0.035. That's going to give
So
you your
let's do
dollar
an example.
figure.
The average house in Massachusetts right now is around $450,000. Market is
What?
crazy. The average home right now is around $450,000.
Oh, in Massachusetts? I thought you said
Am I right?
Framingham. I was like,
Yeah, that sounds
It's around
right.
there, like,
Yeah.
that is like, it was like 450 to 480 last time I
Yeah.
checked.
Yeah, because
So-
that's similar to like our average loan size.
If
It's
we
like
times
right around
that by 0.035, we're talking about $15,750 of a down payment.
So about 16 grand, yeah.
And if you're going to go towards investing, what is the requirement on that?
Yeah, so that becomes 25% down if you're looking at a multifamily.
So let's do that difference. We're talking about 450. It went to 15,000, and now we're timing that by 20%. Now you're talking about putting $90,000 down because it's an investment property.
Yep.
So explain how that hack works, because people definitely want. I mean, you're saving from 15 to 90. That's $75,000 less that you're putting down. How, why, and why is it good?
Yes. So your first move is always your most important when it comes to real estate investing, especially when you're thinking multifamily, because it's really hard to continue to replicate getting multifamilies with low down payments. They've put processes and procedures in place to make it so you kind of can't do that. Because they don't want people being over leveraged. You know, they don't want people continuously buying properties with not a lot of skin in the game.
Yeah.
But they'll let you do it once. So that's why if you're going to use an FHA loan, they only let you have one FHA loan out at a time.
Yeah.
Which
So you can use it multiple times.
As long as you don't have one open.
exactly. So
Okay.
you can only have one of those open at a time. The only time you can get around that is if you like used one here and then say you relocated for work in like Florida. Then they will let you use an FHA loan again.
It's state by state.
Cool. That's cool. That's good.
I thought it was federally.
They will let you do it if there's I think typically it's 100 miles
That's
Oh, cool.
awesome.
from your primary.
That's
so but typically like people will say, "Oh, can I get I'm going to buy an FHA, use an FHA loan to buy a multifamily in Framingham, and then I'm going to do it again and buy one in Worcester."
Not happening.
Won't let you do it. Won't let you do it. So that first one is super important because if you use your FHA loan on a single family, right, first, and then you're thinking multifamily, and you're thinking, okay.
Number 3.
Yep, I want to get a multifamily now. I've settled into being a homeowner. I've had my condo. I've had
know
my
how this
single
feels.
family.
Yeah.
I want to start thinking about investing in real estate, which is awesome. It just becomes way more difficult to do it because you used your FHA loan on your single family, and now the other products like conventional has a 5% down product for multifamilies, but there's income limits to it, and they're really low. Like it's almost near impossible to use that product in New England, especially in the state of Massachusetts. The income limits are not much more than $100,000 a year, and they factor in the projected rental income of whatever property you're going to use.
Wow.
So your first move is really, really important. So if you're on the fence of like single and multifamily, please like go over the benefits of a multifamily. So
Listen
I
to that,
always
guys. Listen to that.
It's huge. It's huge. So I do a 3-prong approach with anybody that's thinking multifamily, right? First prong is, okay, what's it look like when I live there? So there's only a 12-month requirement to actually live in the property.
That was gonna be my next question. Yeah.
Yep. That's always a popular one. Like, well, how long am I stuck there for?
On the
a long
multi,
time?
yeah.
Yep. 12-month requirement that you have to actually live in that property and have it be your primary residence. So first prong that I always look at with people to see if this makes sense for them, and all 3 prongs of this approach are fun to go over, and people usually light up when you start to go over the numbers.
Bring it.
So first prong is, what's it look like when you live there? What does the cash flow look like? What do the actual figures look like while we are living in the property? So say you buy a three family, right? And you're going to live in one of the units. Well, now you have 2 units of rental income coming in each month to supplement your mortgage payment.
Number 2.
So that is big. Number 2, is this is the most important in my opinion. So this is the one I focus on when I'm looking to invest in real estate myself and with clients. So number 2 is, what does it look like when I move out of the property? When I can utilize every unit that I can of rent, yes, as income in this property. So if I bought a 3-family and I was living in 1 unit, what do the numbers look like when I can rent out all 3 units? And I'm going to have a mortgage on this thing for a while. I have a 30-year mortgage. So this is going to be the longest standing situation that I have with this multifamily, is going to be when I can rent out all 3 units, all 2 units, all 4 units, whatever I bought, and how does it stack up against the mortgage? Rule number 1 is that property cannot be bleeding, is what I call it. So meaning the rental income that you are making has to at least cover the mortgage and then a little bit more after that too. Okay. So meaning you're not taking money out of your paycheck every month to pay into that mortgage because the rent's not even covering the mortgage.
So you got to make sure that the rental is paying for the whole mortgage.
Yeah. Yep.
Self-sufficient. Yeah.
Exactly. It's got to be like fully self-sufficient. And I personally consider that not only is the rent paying for the mortgage, but I usually try to make it so that the property is at least this is bare minimum for me to even like look at the property before I just like next. It has to cash flow at least like $300 a month. For it to be, in my eyes, an actual asset.
So after your mortgage is paid, having that positive balance of at least $300, you're saying?
Yep.
That's like after expenses and everything.
Exactly. That's going to cover like your water bill. That's going to cover like your common electric bill that you're going to have. That's going to cover, we live in New England, we have snow removal, right? That stuff's not cheap.
Have you ever, this is like, reminded me, have you ever heard of the BRRRR strategy?
Yes.
You heard about that?
Yeah.
It's like, it's buy, I think it's like rebuild, rent. No, it's buy, rebuild, refinance, rent, repeat. Something like that.
Yeah.
Some weird strategy like that. But I've been, cause like I've been looking at this for years, and these people that I follow on YouTube, they call it the BRRRR strategy, and it's like kind of like a system that you implement on how to analyze a house that it's good for investment.
Yep. The BRRRR strategy. It's a very popular one.
But I like this one though.
It's all about like what you're looking to do. Like what I do always is, my main goal is buy and hold.
Yep.
Like the reason why I'm buying multifamilies is
the long game.
The long game, to eventually have financial freedom, to eventually be able to get out of the rat race and not have to work until I'm 65 years old.
Certain people chase
an awesome retirement plan. I've gone toe to toe with financial advisors in terms of what is more advantageous, real estate or like investing, in other areas. There's risk and reward, and we'll go toe to toe, and but both are awesome. If you were investing money in general and thinking of the future, that's rule number 1, is like you got to think ahead. Most people can't think an hour ahead, let alone 30 years down the road.
It's got to be patient. That's one thing that like I really like.
You teach me that a lot.
Yeah, I really have, like, I feel for me, some of the most important characteristics that I have is I'm so patient with things, and especially for like long-term investments is what I try to look forward to. That's why this episode to me, dude, like everything you're saying to me, bro, like it's engraved in my brain right now.
I love it. Love it.
Kyle, every sunny day always has a rainy day, right?
Yep.
So at the end of the day, let me ask you this.
Yep.
You took the first move, you bought your property. Challenges, man. I mean, what are some big challenges you dealt with? Like, especially when you first started with like people living there with what do you how do you call them? Not landlords, the people who live in
tenants.
Tenants.
Yeah.
That's the word. Thank you for that. But dealing with tenants, dealing with remodeling things, dealing with challenges with like knowing what to do and what looks better, what raises the equity in your house more. What are some challenges you dealt with?
Yeah, without a doubt. And I feel like in the I've only been a landlord since like 2017, so it's been what 6 years. Yeah. Not a whole heck of a lot of time, but I feel like in that time span,
I've learned a lot.
I've got smacked with every. So the biggest like hits, if I were to tell any investor from the first time investor to the person that is buying their 10th or 20th or 30th property, the hits are going to come.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
It's part of it. The hits are going to come. If you try to avoid the hits and like think they're not going to come,
They come harder.
every time a hit comes, it's going to like ruin your week. It's going to ruin your month.
Just be prepared for it.
You got to be prepared for the hits and just kind of like expect them to come. But if you're prepared for it, it's not going to shake you.
You're thinking ahead.
Yeah. So like some hits that can come.
Like property damage.
Yeah,
Or
man.
If the renter
tenants-
leaves,
Unaccounted for bills. Like one of them, like I'll never forget. Like
shit.
And I look at snowstorms completely different now, man. Like when you're a kid, you're looking at snow. Even
Snow
today,
day.
you're like, man, I don't gotta go go to work. Maybe I can work from home.
I was like, dang, I gotta call my plow guys.
Every time it snows now, it's like dollar signs are like falling from the sky. I'm like, oh no, shit. It's not cheap. It's not cheap, and like I didn't realize that until like I had my first winter as a landlord, and I'm getting these snow removal bills, and I'm like, oh my god, I didn't account for that. Like in my numbers, like in my cash flow, I'm like,
holy
man,
shit.
that's expensive.
You almost went over there and shoveled that shit yourself, huh?
Honest to God, I was like, man, am I gonna have to get dirty here? And
2 o'clock in the
I'm
morning.
like, I'm about to go buy a plow truck real quick.
Like, yeah, totally. I'm like, that's a great another business. But that just like hits like that, like unaccounted for expenses, snow removal, evictions. Like tenant issues.
Massachusetts
I
laws.
think, because I talked to Silmar about this a lot. And he's a property manager. And he told me, like, one of the key things that you have to capitalize on is doing background checks on your tenants. So you know that you're getting a tenant that has a good payment history, that's on their shit. The last thing you want is someone that doesn't pay the rent, doesn't take care of the property. It has to all be under contract, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. And shout out to Custom Properties. They Silmar and Lexi, they manage my properties.
Oh shit!
So
for real?
that
That's
is
dope.
That's
highly recommend getting a good team in place. They're the best. Awesome. So that's like I got myself into those predicaments where like I was a little messy with like not getting lease agreements in place or like not looking what I put in lease agreements. And that can burn you. In this state, it's a tenant state. It's a tenant favored state. So if you run into issues with a tenant and they stop paying you, like if you have somebody.
our state is so complicated when it comes to that.
It's tough, man.
Especially after COVID, huh?
It's tough. Yeah, COVID made it a little bit tougher. COVID, they came out with a program called Raft, which was huge. So like if there are any landlords out there listening and you don't know about Raft is huge. It is a program that your tenants can apply for, that they will pay back rent. They will pay the tenant's rent for a certain amount of months. I've had to use that program a couple times with some tenants. But in this state, man, if you've got a tenant that you didn't vet properly, and I'll get into that in like just a minute on how to like vet a good tenant. But if you didn't vet the tenant properly, you didn't have the right things in your lease agreement, it takes 6 to 8 months to get them out of the property.
It's almost a full year.
It's 6 to 8 months of that person not paying you and you having, again, unexpected bills, having to deal with that.
Yep.
Crazy.
Exactly.
Have you dealt with that before?
Yeah. I just went through it. It was a hit.
Tell us about that a little bit, man.
It was a hit. So I had a tenant that stopped paying rent, and again, I went through this company that I hadn't used before. I'm not gonna like name the company, but a housing company that places tenants for you, that I trusted. I believed in the program. They were people that were kind of down and out, that needed a place to live, in this program like will pay good.
Is this
portion.
Section 8? I know.
It's not Section 8. It was a different program. Section 8's pretty awesome. And I have
Section
some
8 is
other-
government funding, so it's more legit, like more legit and more consistent.
A lot more organized, a lot
Yeah.
more consistent. This was like a town specific
Okay.
housing program.
And then that happened.
And so they place the tenant for you. Where Section 8, they still have to fill out an application. You know, that you can pull their credit. You get to look at their Section 8 vouchers, make sure it's legit, see what are you doing for work, all that stuff. That Section 8 tenant is applying alongside every other type of tenant in your unit. This program that, again, it was my miss, that I trusted, they chose the tenant for me. So I didn't know the vetting process that they were doing. I just trusted that they were doing all the right stuff, which, again, you live and you learn.
Yeah,
definitely.
hell yeah.
Mistakes cost money, man.
Yeah, this one was a hit. It took about 7 months to get her out of the property. So she had back rent of like half the housing program covered half her rent, and then she covered the other half. So I had 7 months of her not paying rent, of her half of her portion. I had then when they get evicted, right, you have attorney fees. So my attorney is fantastic. He's awesome. So he was very nice to me, but it was still expensive. So attorney fees were like, we had to go to court multiple times. She was missing court dates.
So you have to keep rescheduling.
Yeah, so it was like, it was a mess. It was like probably the worst case scenario. So like if I've been through this and I'm telling you to like invest in real estate and buy a property, that's like how powerful it is. Because at the end of the day, right, like all this money that it cost me, the attorney was $3,500. You then have to pay to move them out of the unit. So like I have to pay her moving costs to move her out of the unit. That was $3,000.
God.
So it's like now you're talking like $7,000 just with attorney fees and to move her out, plus her back rent of like $6,000.
Oh my!
So it's like
adding up.
You're almost at like a $20,000 hit.
That's crazy.
But I look at it like this: if I own a property that is, worth $700,000. Right, and I only had to do 3.5% down to buy that property up front, right? So I'm into it for, $700,000. 3.5% is what, like 23,000, 22,000, something like that. Richie, you doing the math quick? Yeah.
Jesus. 24.5.
24.5. So I had to put 24.5. And then I had closing costs. So closing costs, anytime you purchase a property, you're going to have closing costs. This is going to include like your attorney's fees, your appraisal, your underwriting fees, the cost to work on the loan, your processing fees, your escrows. So they make you put aside a certain amount of months for taxes and insurance to have a cushion in there. A good rule of thumb to figure out what your closing costs are going to be when you go to buy a home is go off of about 2% of the sale price.
Okay.
That's going to give you a pretty darn good idea.
Really?
Yeah. So like if you buy and it's conservative too, usually. So like if you buy a $700,000 home, you going off $14,000 for closing costs. That's not a bad number. It's going to be a little on the high end, but always good to play it safe and shoot a little high.
For sure.
So if I have 24.5 plus my $14,000 closing costs, say, so now I'm at 38.5, right? All in. And say I have three tenants that burn me for $15,000 each on an eviction over the time that I own that property. So that's another $45,000, right?
Yep.
$45,000 plus what, 38.5, that's like 80 something.
Like 78, 79. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm all into that property for like between $70,000 and $85,000. But I had tenants the whole 30 years I had that mortgage, and however long I want to keep that property, I had tenants. That property was completely being paid off.
Nothing out of your pocket.
Nothing out of my pocket other than like common expenses
Yeah.
to keep the house up. Maybe a water heater goes.
Just the overhead, which is regular with everything you're doing.
Any home you're going to buy, you're going to have overhead.
Yeah.
When you have a car, you have overhead. You got to change the oil, you got to
Business,
change the
anything,
tires, everything. So I'm all into it for $80,000, but I own a property that's $700,000 that the whole time I owned it was paid off by tenants. So in 30 years, if I take and say that's not even taking into account appreciation.
Oh yeah, 'cause
I
the home
bought it
value's going
today
up.
for $700K.
How's it going to be in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years?
It could be worth, say it's worth $900K, right? Now take $80,000 out of that $900K, and I still made $810,000 off that property.
Is that worth it?
Totally. Because here's that third prong approach, right? The third prong approach is, what does it look like when I don't have a mortgage on that property anymore?
Clean money coming in every
That
month.
becomes the
That's the
that
main.
is
That's
the
the
game
main
changer
goal,
right
right?
there.
that's
yeah.
the main goal.
That's the finish line, right
Best
there.
mortgage is no mortgage.
Kyle, I heard that if you pay one extra payment a year
Yep.
on your mortgage, you can decrease your mortgage by 10 years. Is that like true?
That's a decent. It's definitely true that
Projection,
it will
yeah.
help. Yeah, I'm not sure like the exact amount of years
But
that would
around-
take off, but it will shave off. So
A
like,
lot.
yeah, anytime you can make additional money, pay additional money,
Go
30
straight towards
years.
principal amount without any interest, correct?
Yep. And really cool. If you guys if you guys Google search amortization schedule bankrate.com.
Okay.
That is one of the coolest calculators that I play with all the time. You can plug in like a loan amount and interest rate, and then you can play with the numbers and say, okay, what if I did another $200 a month?
You can see how much it shaves off.
You can
Oh,
see how much it
shit.
shaves off, and
That's
it'll
cool.
tell you when you're going to pay your loan off. So it might say, hey, if you do another $200 a month, you're going to have it paid off in 27 years and 2 months instead of 30 years.
Mm.
All right, what about $300 a month? What about $500 a month? So you
Bro,
can always
I would
play
see
with
that every once in a while. So I would say out of 100 cars I sold in the 10 years of being a business, out of 100 cars, I'd probably see only like 2-3 people use that. But the ones that did, bro, they were on top of their game.
Yeah.
And I advise that to anybody. If you want to pay down your loans, you want to keep track of your interest, and you want to get rid of that as soon as possible, use an amortization calculator because that's going to definitely help you out.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
That's definitely an information that's not out there for a lot of people.
No, that's a really fun one to use. That
What's
one's
it called again?
amortization calculator. So it's
Amortização.
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a special calculator for
It's
it.
a mouthful to spell.
Amortization calculator. Remember that, guys.
But that's a really good one. So that third prong approach is like what I keep my eyes set
It's
on.
thinking ahead.
so
That's
quick
thinking
summary.
ahead.
What was the three prong approach that, just to give a quick summary of all of it?
Yep, quick overview. So first prong approach is what's it look like when I live there? When I can have some rental income coming in. So you might end up owning and living in that 3-family and having like a really nice unit for yourself, and you might be paying cheaper a month than all your friends are paying
For rent.
Yep.
and you own it.
Man, I paid
It's all
$3,000.
technically going back into your pocket.
Think about it. I paid $3,000 for a 715 square foot apartment. It's insane.
Rent is very expensive right now. It's very expensive right now.
So first prong, when you how does it look when you live there?
Yep.
Second one,
second prong is what does it look like when I move out of here and I can utilize all the units to rent out? How do the numbers work? Is it bleeding? Meaning, am I like,
are you negative or positive?
am I negative or positive? I got to make sure that property bare minimum is self-sufficient. So
At least covering the mortgage.
it's at least
It pays
covering
for
the
itself.
mortgage and then a couple $100 a month after that. And boom, that thing is self-sufficient in my eyes. That's a real asset. That thing's making you money when you sleep. Third prong approach is what's it look like when I have no mortgage on it? Down the road vision.
But I love what you said. The best mortgage is no mortgage.
Yeah. Best mortgage is no mortgage.
And I love that because one leads to the other. Once you move into the 3-family, you already know what you're going to be paying for electric bill. You already know what you're going to be paying for the water bill. You're going to already know what's going to, in the future, what are you going to have to change, like a boiler or whatever, And then the second one is like you already have all the calculations all bundled up.
The experience of actually living.
Yes.
Yeah.
Already know what the future, what you have to do.
surprises, yeah.
It's crazy, bro. I love this.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of homeownership. Like right now, like, if you're on the fence or thinking, oh my God, rates are high and properties are expensive, you might be surprised because like rent's really expensive too. And the thing about when you own a property is like you're locking in that payment. That payment's like really not going to change. Yeah, property taxes go up a little bit each year and homeowners insurance go up a little bit each year. But the stories that I'm hearing right now about how much rent is being raised by
Insane.
landlords on tenants
Insane.
in 1 year is nuts. So like you might literally out of the blue, you don't own that place. That landlord can raise the rent on you a certain chunk to where you say, "Oh my God, I can't pay that rent anymore and I got to move." When you own that property, you can lock in that payment. So the biggest tip is to figure out your comfort zones.
Yep.
If you own a single family or a condo, is to figure out, does that payment work for me? A really good tip that I always say for people to do is get numbers from your loan officer. Me. I'll give you.
You already know who to hit up, guys.
Plug. Get payment figures. Like I can get you payments on exactly what you're looking to do. I can get you payment figures at 450,000, 500, 600, 200, whatever your price range is. I can get you really good idea of monthly payments. And then what you can do to simulate that and say, is that comfortable for me? Is that a good move?
So your options.
Yeah, what you can do is if you have some time, you can take whatever you're paying for rent now, right? Like say you're paying $2,000 a month for rent, right? Or Richie, say he's paying $3,000 a month for rent, and he looks at a mortgage, and the mortgage is $4,000 a month, right? And Richie says, okay, I gotta make sure that that's a good fit for me. What we can do is you pay your rent every single month, but then take another $1,000 each month and pay yourself in a different account that you're not going to touch.
So you get used to it.
Yeah, you pretend like you don't have that. So simulate a $4,000
Make
a
yourself
month
your own
payment.
tenant, so to speak.
Yep. Take that whatever the difference is between your projected mortgage payments and what you're paying out of pocket for your housing payment right now. You can simulate that today. Just pay yourself, tuck it aside, and say, I'm pretending like I don't have that money.
I like that.
I'm pretending like I don't have access to that money.
Thinking ahead.
And see where you land. See where you fall. At the end of the month, do it for 2-3 months and see how you're living. You know, at the end of the month, do a review and be like, okay, was I able to pay my mortgage each month? Was I able to make that payment and live my life? Was I able to go with my friends? Was I able to like spend a little money and have some fun, treat myself?
Yeah.
Did I kind of squeak by? Was I able to do it, but I had to sacrifice some things?
For sure.
And if I did, am I okay with that? Did I still live a good life? Is it worth this? Is it worth the lifestyle I just lived the past 2 or 3 months? Was that okay? If it was, still awesome. Or did I fall short?
That's a problem.
That's
I
where,
fall
but that's
short?
where you learn, like you said, you had that whole experience with the tenants, and
Yeah.
you learn from that.
Yep. And then that will tell you that mortgage payment's too high.
Yeah.
If you fall short and you can't pay that housing payment, what you're simulating, and your other bills, and live your life, and you look and say, oh my God, I fell short. That mortgage payment isn't for you. We just got to scale it back and look at a cheaper price point.
And real quick, just to stem off what Kyle was saying earlier, guys, about how the housing market, you hear in the news a lot, and like they'll talk about, oh, it's so expensive to buy homes right now. Don't buy
Fuck
homes.
the
Da, da, da.
news.
Guys, we said this all the time in every single episode. Do your own research. Hit up Kyle. See the numbers. See what it's really about. Look at it. Don't take everything for face value. Look at it right in front of you. See what it can do for you. Because like he said, it is the best investment, guys. It's always good to buy a home. Always.
I like to say this all the time. In life, no matter what, you already have no's. Go after the yeses. Make that move, because if your mind, you're telling us, I can't qualify, I'm not good enough, I'm not making enough money, you never know. Kyle brought it up here tonight. 580 for minimal credit score. Like, what?
That's crazy.
Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people even know about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like, just take the move, guys. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't cost you money to do what do you call it? Like a consultation with you.
Yeah.
And you've done it with me, bro. Like, you're so straight up. And guys, Kyle is a personal friend, but outside of that, before I met Kyle, I got personal with you. I met you as a professional person, and
Yeah.
man, I trust you 100%, man. You're super knowledgeable about what you do,
Thank you.
and you were very honest with me. I was kind of floating back in November, where I was just excited and just trying to get things done like immediately. Kyle, I want to go. I got to buy a house. We got to do it. He's like, Rich, stop.
Slow down.
Yep.
And I was like, what do you mean, bro? Like, you work alone? It's like, what do you mean stop? He's like, relax. Let's find out first. What's the goal? Let's find out what's the purpose. Let's find out what's good and what's bad for you. And I love that about you, man, because you didn't just be like, oh, great, another opportunity to make some money. No, you're like, let me help him the right way. Let me truly create a path here for him, because you know that I'm not going to just come for you for the first more, but I'm going to come for the second, for the third. I'm going to refer you to my family, to my friends. I'm going to bring you on my podcast to talk to people and also help them out. And that's all relationship networking. Going back to what Eric said, networking is everything. You never know who you're talking to. Today, they might be nothing, but 2 years from now, you might need them. And you don't know that. Don't treat people bad. Don't mistreat people. Don't do bad business. Always try to do the best and really try to go out there and put your best self for other people. For sure. Taking 2 steps back. We always talk about taking 2 steps back to sometimes taking 5 steps forward. Sacrificing, just to wrap up this multifamily conversation. Sacrifice is a big part of it. You know what I mean? And a lot of people sometimes they don't want to take that move to sacrifice maybe going to live in an okay average apartment for that multifamily for a few 12 months to jump onto something bigger later. Guys, it's worth it. You know what I mean? Even if you're going to be living in a smaller apartment, maybe it's not as luxurious as what you want. Maybe it's not as modern as what you want. Take that step back. Because you living 12 months in that place, 1, you're saving a lot more money. 2, you're paying your pocket every day. And 3, you're preparing yourself for the experience of owning that home is going to teach you so much.
Big time.
I haven't done it yet, but from what I have a lot of friends of mine that are by my side that have done it, and I see it every day, man.
I mean, just from your testimonials here today, dude, like, I'm ready to just really dive into this even more and see, like, because I haven't even tried, like I was saying, I haven't even tested the process out of seeing if I qualify, seeing what I can qualify for. So, like, all this information I'm getting is literally, it's making me really want to step into this even more.
Heck yeah.
Talking about working hard, chasing their dreams, chasing their goals. I want to talk about Stay Golden XD, man. Let's pay some bills. Guys, Stay Golden by XD. Super hardworking Jenny there, always chasing her dreams. She actually just opened up a brand new location. Jenny, round of applause. Round of applause for everything that she's been doing. Where is it? Round of applause, Jenny. Thank you so much for all the hard work, all the support you've been giving us. But first, guys, again, Stay Golden by XD. Tooth whitening, tanning, tooth gems, Brazilian tape tans. And not only that, she's also working with the bodybuilding community. If you guys are working out, you guys want to start doing the competitions, hit her up. She got the best tanning. She has different shades, exactly what you want. And she, again, it's all about you. She's awesome. She makes sure that you're feeling special and you're feeling
so
golden.
easy to work with. She's such a cool girl.
Tell me.
I need to visit her. let me tell you why. So I was in Miami, right, this past weekend. I fell asleep on the pool chair outside. Coming back from
a little burnt, bro.
I was wearing, look at this. I literally have a V right here. I'm not gonna show you.
Because you're wearing a tank top.
Yeah, no, I was wearing the
you got
nice
a farmer's
dress shirt.
And
I like to let it open because I like to look like kind of a Guido a little bit, you know. And then I literally have a tan of a V right here.
She has to match that up.
And I was like, dude, I need to go visit her. She gotta work her magic on me, man. I was like, damn, I'm never doing that again.
Guys, if you want to hit up Jenny, you want to go to her location, her brand new location, beautiful spot, 221 Boston Post Road East, Suite 460 in Marlborough, Massachusetts. 221 Boston Post Road East, Suite 460 in Marlborough, Massachusetts. If you guys want to hit up Jenny, also Stay Golden on Instagram. Let me just make sure I do say this tag here correctly. Stay Golden Altogether by XD. Stay Golden by XD altogether. Hit her up, DM her, and we actually have a special promo code too. Stay Hip 15. So if you contact her through Stay Hip 15, you're gonna get 15% off. And girls, guys, everybody, she's definitely gonna make you feel golden.
Hell yeah.
Anything in the chat? Check on anything for us?
Yeah, another thing, I want to definitely thank everybody who's been here in the chat. We have a lot of people saying fire content. This dude is spitting games. We have Lage
Straight
XD,
gems.
Lucas Barcelo, fire emoji, Lucas Lopez, my bad, butchering your last name. We have here, Thais goes, tenants have more rights than landlords, unfortunately. Carolina goes, loving this episode. Great advice, Kyle. Again,
guys,
thank you so much.
If you're really loving it,
chat.
don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, guys. This episode is, I'm like at a loss of words, bro. Like, I love this, bro. I was telling Richie, I was so hyped for this episode,
I'm loving it. I've never seen an episode that Andre stayed so quiet.
Yo, this is the best, bro. I love it.
I have a personal question.
Yeah.
Because I trust this guy here, and I trust this guy. These guys are my brothers. So what if we got together to invest in property. Do you think that's a good idea? Or you think it's more of a headache? It's more something hard to deal with?
You know, you can. You definitely can do that. You definitely can do that. The only thing that I've always looked at, right, and the biggest piece of advice that I could give somebody that is going to invest in real estate, because it can be such a long-term investment with other people, right, is make sure that you get everything worked out up front and get it all in a contract. Everything. Everything. Because life happens.
Yep.
Things change.
For sure.
People have families. People get kids. People move.
There's too many variables in life.
Too many variables. So, like, if it ever comes to a point where, like, somebody wants to cash out and say, like, hey, man, I need the money. I need the money from, like, this property. I'm, like, in a tough time, or, like, I want the money to, like, go do this to make more money. And, like, all three people have to kind of agree on that. So that it can be a little bit tough.
Yeah.
But the way to combat that is to just, like, work that all out
Up front.
in a contract up front.
Think about the worst case scenario and always make sure you have that down.
Yeah.
We did that even with the podcast. I mean, when me, Eric, and Andre were talking, I'm always the person who thinks about all those things too.
Yep.
And I sat down with Eric and Andre and I was like, guys, listen, I think life is great. We trust each other a hell of a lot.
Yep.
But let's make sure we put a contract on everything that we're doing. Yep. Make sure we're all on the same page, and let's talk about the uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah, you got to have those.
You have to. You have to, because life, like you said, life happens.
But how does that like work? Is it is the percentage of the house is it split in three? Does one person has to have a 1-up on the percentage? Is it like kind of a business kind of thing? Like, is everyone like, who owns that house? All these three people does. Like, how does that work?
Does it have to be commercial at that point?
Typically, yeah. Like,
right?
it's really hard to get people to co-sign on a mortgage alongside you that aren't family. Like mother, father, brother, sister, aunt,
Same thing with
uncle.
auto loans. Yeah,
It's hard to.
It's hard. It's hard. The really what you could do is, if you guys all agree to live in that property together, that's when typically you can do it.
frat house.
Yeah, run it back.
Right, for real. No, what I thought too. What if it's like, if let's say for example, if we were gonna do that, we all three of us started like a company that we manage properties and then put it under that. Would that be a little smarter? Maybe
You could do that. That will throw it into a commercial loan.
Switch just completely off your area.
Completely different.
Okay.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
But the company that we own, would have the ownership of that property.
Yeah, so if we wanted to buy a property under Hip Entertainment, we could do
like
that.
totally.
It would be a completely commercial loan though.
Yep.
Yeah.
But people do that all the time.
Yeah.
That
And
is
it's less
totally
liable, but
doable.
that's a whole different
That's a whole
conversation.
different
Yeah, that
I have another question.
Yep.
Every time you've been talking, I've been just writing questions.
Pause there. Wait, before you ask that question, guys. Oz, put the phone number up. Do you have the phone number there? Can we put the phone number up? I want to do for the last. We'll be wrapping this up soon. We got probably like another 30 minutes here, a few minutes, 4 more minutes.
Yep.
Put the same phone number. It's on Thais's. It's already on hers. Yeah, we can already do it. Put the phone number up.
Some live calls.
Yes, we have live calls.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
guys, if you have any questions, if you have you want to just chip into the conversation, call in. We definitely want to have someone come in online and go on to our conversation and ask Kyle some questions. Eric.
Okay, sir. Thank you. I appreciate it. So here's the thing, right? A lot of people, they get scared to buy a multifamily home because of interest rates, right? Interest rates is high. But, people shouldn't really be scared of that, because you might be paying this in the interest rate, but, down the road, you can have a potential to refinance and lower the interest
I love
rate,
that
right?
question.
But here's the thing, right? Imagine you have this 3-family or 4-family multifamily home, right? And you have it all rented out, and you have an awesome cash flow, but you're having that 7% interest rate, but you have an opportunity to get 4 or 3. Would you still refinance even though you're making a cash flow, even though everything's going good?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's
Always
an awesome question too. And that's like something that I wanted to like bring up in general, just with home ownership, multifamily, single families, condos. that will come at some point down the road. The reason why interest rates are so high right now is the government is fighting inflation as a result of what they did through COVID.
So they're just printing money.
Yeah. So like interest rates are a little bit like through COVID, they were, to keep it super simple, they were artificially low. Yeah. Now they're kind of artificially high because we're in an unprecedented time still where we're fighting like crazy inflation.
For sure.
So to Eric's point, like that is such an awesome thing to bring up, man, because if it's a multifamily, refinancing into if your cash flow is already good, refinancing into a lower rate is going to get it even better.
That's what I was thinking. So keep an eye on the interest rate.
Yes.
I know. And what's a good interest rate to be like, okay, now I can refinance? Like, for example, the example I gave, a 7 to a 5. Would that make sense instead of a 7 to a 6?
So like points, like an example, like 1%, is it worth refinancing? 1%, is it worth refinancing if it drops 1.5? Is it worth refinancing?
As long as it's going lower, I'm guessing it's a good idea.
I don't know because there's fees when you refinance too. So sometimes it doesn't make sense to refinance.
But not only fees, don't the years also increase as well?
If you want to,
it
depends.
can.
Yeah,
it can. So it really all depends. It's like an individual. It's a very individualized process to look at a refinance. So you definitely want to look to see if it makes sense.
Typically, you would say what, at least 1.5% lower?
Not even.
2?
Honest to God, like less.
Oh, less.
Less.
like a 0.5% on a $700,000 loan could be. I mean,
Let's say approximately. Just throw a number out there.
$300-$400 a month. It could be.
Which is still good.
Yeah, it could be like a big. It could be a big difference.
Guys, let's say $300 times 12. We're talking about 3 times 12. That's 20, 48. That's $4,800 out of the bat that you're saving.
Mm-hmm. And like, it's all dependent. Like a good rule of thumb is to see
36. Sorry, I had to say that.
12 times 4.
It's
48.
It's a 3.
Oh, it's 300. I said. Okay, my bad.
Sorry, I had to correct that.
And I worked in finance for 5 years.
So, like a good rule of thumb that I always look at for refinancing is how long is it going to take to make back up what you're saving in a month-to-month basis for the refinance? How much is that going to take to make, or how long is it going to take in a month-to-month savings to break even, to make back up what that refinance cost you?
Okay.
So a refinance typically will cost you like $3,000, right around there. $3,000, $3,500. That's like the typical cost to a refinance. Can be cheaper. I know a lot of lenders
Hit up Kyle. It'll be cheaper.
Yeah, it definitely will. I mean, movement mortgage is like big time incentivizing. A lot of lenders are going to do this. Once rates drop,
we got the bottle.
Best Yeti in the game. A lot of lenders are going to, again, they're going to want people to refinance. So there's going to be endless opportunities for people to drop their interest rates, for lenders to be giving lender credits and doing, low cost refinances to get them out of these get them out of the high interest rates into lower interest rates. So it really depends. Like, again, if someone's planning on moving out of their house, like that's a question I'll ask. One of the first questions I'll ask when someone's ready to refinance or take a peek at it is, well, how much longer do you think you're going to be in that property or own that? It might be like 2 or 3 more years. I might sell it. I might get out of it. To me, that tells me like probably not the best
to refinance
move to refinance, because like what it costs you to refinance, you may never make back up that cost on a month-to-month basis. Wow. Usually, like,
so it's an illusion.
Yeah. It might save you money every month, but you had to like pay money to do the refinance. So another good rule of thumb is to look at it and say, well, if I can break even in 3 years, that's like usually what I'll look at.
Okay.
Because most homeowners will stay in their property for like 5 to 7 years minimum.
Really?
That's like minimum.
That's the average,
we could fact check that too. It might even be more now.
Yeah.
But they're most likely going to stay in that property. So typically that 3, as long as you're going to make back up that money before and see a win, right? Like see a win, even if it takes 4 years, that might be good for somebody who says, I'm going to be in this home forever. I'm going to live in this home. This is my forever home is what people will call it. So even if maybe their payback period on the refinance is 5 years,
It doesn't matter because they're staying there.
After 5 years, you're going to be in that home another 25, 30 years or until you die.
Makes sense.
So you're going to win from this no matter what. The other trick you're playing with refinances is we don't know if rates are going to stay this low. We don't know if they're going to go lower. The best economists in the world cannot predict interest rates to a T. They've tried, they've failed.
Will never happen.
To wrap up this mortgage conversation, I definitely want to say one thing. At the end of the day, you're buying a property. You're not buying a rate. Go after it.
Big time.
Chase it. I use that even in the car business while I was selling cars. I said it, guys. Oh my God, but rates! I don't want to buy my car right now. Guys, you're not married to the rate. You're married to the property. You're married to the asset. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, make sure that the choice on the asset is the best choice that you're doing.
Yep.
And make sure that at the end of the day, man, you can refinance. You have so many other options that you can go to solve that issue.
Yeah, big time. Just
Take the first step.
big thing is to make sure that it's comfortable now. And if it's comfortable now, just know that down the road when refinance opportunities come up and rates come down, it's going to get even better.
The only chance I would say the only time that you should really care about rate is affordability, because again, if that rate's pushing you to not afford that property, then yeah, you're putting yourself in an uncomfortable state.
Yep.
So don't do that.
Right.
But if it's just you're just scared of that number, fuck that. Wing it. Let's go. Make it happen. Chase it. Do it.
Take a risk. Take
Hell
the
yeah.
risk.
Yeah.
Kyle, I mean, we talked a lot about your professional side of things, right?
Yeah.
You're awesome. I mean, you're great at what you do, man. Once again, thank you for talking to us about all the mortgage things.
Amazing.
But we also want to know who Kyle is as a person, on your
Outside
personal
of
life,
mortgage.
outside of all that, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm pretty sure you have hobbies. I'm pretty sure you have things you love to do. You
Yep.
just got married.
Yeah, thank you.
Congratulations. Round of applause. Kyle just got married. Beautiful place.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit
Appreciate
about that, man. I mean, your personal life, like how do you, one of the questions I got earlier, and I did not ask this question earlier, guys, because I was ready to bring it up at the end, was how do you balance the work life and the personal life?
And the
Because
personal
the big
life.
thing we talk about in the podcast is having a balance. The reason why we started this is because we want to have a balance in every aspect of life.
Yeah.
So you're a great professional. I'm pretty sure you're a great husband. You're a great son. You're a great man as what you do. So tell us, I mean, how do you balance that?
Yeah, that's an awesome question, and it's always something that you're continuously working on. I feel like it's never. That's a journey that never ends.
There's never like the right answer, so to speak, right?
Yeah, like it's something you have to be aware of it. Like being aware of maybe where you're lacking is like super, super important. So
Self-awareness.
yeah. So if I'm like working too much and I'm like doing my hobbies too much, but like my relationship is not getting as much like love or attention as it needs, I need to be able to recognize that and make a change.
Yeah.
And say, okay, now I got to chill back on work a little bit. I got to chill back on the hobbies a little bit, because anything in life that's good takes work.
Oh yeah.
So like when you put work into the relationship, you get it back. You feel it. Like any guy that's ever like, oh man, like stuff's tough with my girl, or like, she's. I feel like it's not the same as it was. The chemistry's gone, or it's going, or I would challenge you to put work into the relationship
And see a change.
Don't even expect anything
effort.
back. Like just think, what can I do to this relationship?
Kind of like
Accountability.
step back from the other things and let's focus a little bit. Let's put the marbles more on this side, and it's just to see if things will start leveling out.
Yes.
At the end of the day, bro,
Yeah,
life is like
yeah.
a garden, right? You have all those plants, and those plants are different areas in your life. You got to make sure you're watering all of them, because if
Grass
you
is
don't,
greener where you water it.
at the end of the day, bro, if you don't water that certain area in your life, it's gonna die out, and you need to make sure you keep a balance between all areas of your life.
Big time. Like happiness is a big thing.
Last episode, we were talking about how important it is to have, that strong woman by your side, to have that person who's truly going to push you to the next level, who's going to really support you, not be a headache in your life, but be that support.
Yep.
Not be that person who's going to be nagging and complaining and all that.
Yep.
And man, Thais tells me all the time that your wife is amazing. She's also in the industry with you, correct?
Yeah,
Like,
she is. Yeah, we're on the same team.
Match made in heaven.
Same company, same team. She speaks Spanish too, fluently.
Look at that.
That's something that we're able to help a whole other client base.
Reaching out.
Yeah, which has worked so well.
How important has she been to your process of growth?
Oh my God, she's the best. She's the best.
Shout out, what's her name?
wifey.
Dalia.
Dalia,
I
shout
wonder
out
if
to
she's
Dalia.
watching. She might be asleep. But man, like I knew, like marriage is a big deal, and I take marriage like seriously. You know, like that's kind of like final to me.
The foundation.
Yeah, definitely. And that was one thing, like, as you get older and, like, you guys know, like, you go through relationships, you see what you like, you see what you don't like, you know what you want. And marriage, when I looked at it, I was like, man, like, marriage that's your life partner, you know?
For good.
That's, that's someone you're going to go through life with.
That's not your 30-year mortgage. That's forever.
That's forever. That's forever. And, like, you want someone that can build you up in the good times and make those good times even more fun and blessed. And in those bad times, that's rock.
That's when they got to really stick around.
Yeah, man. And, like, that was super important to me. So when I, like, you know, I'm dating and I was thinking about that, you know, and I was getting older and I was, you know, I'm 32 now and we've been together for like a little over 3 years. And that was something that was important to me, was like, oh my God, like, I need someone to be my partner. And she's so mentally strong.
That's amazing.
She's very tough. She's been through a challenging childhood and resilience, like,
Which made her stronger.
Yeah, I love people.
character.
Like, I've
Yeah.
always been drawn to people who have built resilience and, like, been through things in life and come out on the other side
Bro,
of
it's
who they
beautiful.
are as a person. Oh my God, that was the most attractive thing to me. To her was, I was like, man, you're a tough motherfucker.
No, for real, dude. Like, meeting a
It's like,
girl,
damn.
meeting a woman that can hold things down. You know what I mean? Like, and on our episode of International Women's Day, Andre talks about this a lot. You know, it's not only the woman holding the guy, it's also the guy holding the women. It's about knowing when you have to have each other's back.
Both coming together. To a
Both
consensus,
coming together to create this path. You know what I mean? You guys have to have the same vision. You know, you guys have each other's back. You know, you guys
No matter what.
you guys are married for a reason. You know, you guys both, you know, felt it that you guys could do this together.
Yeah.
And I think that's very important. You know,
I say it all the time, man. A relationship, there's two things that can happen. One, it's either going to build you, or two, it's going to destroy you. So make sure you're picking the person who's going to build you.
Big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah, she's elemental to my motivation, my happiness. Like, that girl
I love
is
to
a
hear that.
riot. She's like
That's
she's one of the
beautiful, man.
funniest
That's
people I know.
That's the best too, when you have a girl you can laugh with, bro. Nothing beats that, man.
And she is a riot. She's funnier than most of my friends.
That's when you found a real one. Hell yeah.
She's awesome, dude. So, like, that's big, and she's I look forward to the other stuff we're gonna tackle in life together. You know.
I want you to take this one, hobbies.
I was about to say,
Yeah.
literally, I was
Oh,
already
yeah.
thinking about
There we
this
go,
one.
there we go.
Yo, so guys, this is the first time I've met Kyle as well, and, like, literally, like, I already got him in my heart. This dude is amazing. Like, all the knowledge you've been giving us today, I appreciate this so much.
Thank you,
But
bro.
when I went to your page on Instagram, the first thing I saw was you in a kimono, bro.
Yeah,
And I was like, fuck yes, bro. My guy's in the MMA.
Yeah.
So I was just like, dude, what got you into MMA too and starting jiu-jitsu? What belt are you? Like, what's up with that?
Yeah. So, what got me into it? So, a guy that we used to work with, worked with us a couple years ago. He knew that I loved, like, UFC, and I'm, like, addicted to the UFC. I love, like, mixed martial arts and every form of martial arts. It's super entertaining.
Kyle loves
It's
Brazilians.
amazing.
He's just trying to be a little bit more Brazilian.
Best food, best sports.
yeah.
So it always fascinated me. And he was like, hey, man, I go and train at this gym in Wakefield, Defensive Edge. Shout out Defensive Edge.
Hey.
And he's like, I train with this guy, Connor Berry, who's like an absolute killer, man. This kid he's young. He's 28 years old. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. And he's a pro MMA fighter. And he was like, I train with this kid. I train jiu-jitsu. I do some stand-up with him, but mostly jiu-jitsu. And he's like, I think you'd love it, man. I think you'd love it. And, like, I was like, I've always, like, been into fitness and liked fitness. And I was like, you know, that's different. I've never done something like that. And, like, I think I would love this. I'm going to give it a shot. But I was wicked nervous.
Dude, it's definely one of those things where it's like,
dude.
you're like, what am I going to get my ass kicked? What's going to happen, bro?
And you're thinking you're going into a fighting gym like everybody's going to be a bully.
Yep.
You know,
It's complete opposite.
It is.
Oh, dude, it's all love. It's
It is.
all love. It's so cool, man.
Yeah.
You know what's the dopest thing about that? Like, to stem off of that is being in that, like, just being in that sport. You learn that quick about how much you think, like, oh, you're gonna go in there, people are gonna bully me, people that are better than me. people aren't like that because they know there's, first of all, there's always someone better.
Yep.
Right?
Always.
I don't give a shit how good you are, how good you think you are. There's always somebody better. And that's the thing. So it humbles you, right?
Big
So you go in there, it doesn't matter
Big
how
time.
big or strong you think you are. It's just like, it's something where it really, really shows you. It brings out your real, true self.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, every guy I feel like has this mentality.
We're like,
I can fuck him up.
Yeah.
I can fuck him up.
Alpha.
Yeah. Like I can beat anybody in a fight.
Yep.
And I see red, and like
Yep.
I just go blackout.
Yep.
Until you get knocked out.
Until you step into like a
A
fighting
real gym. Yep.
And when you do stand up, even like Muay Thai or boxing, you can catch someone with a lucky punch.
For sure.
You could catch someone with a lucky punch. You athletes do naturally really well in mixed martial arts, but jiu-jitsu, there's no luckiness to it.
Yeah.
There's
Zero.
There's no lucky. Nobody ever gets a lucky tap in jiu-jitsu. Just
And you're not gonna outmuscle them. Nobody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, like I've brought in my biggest, toughest boys into the gym just to see
What they would do.
Oh, kids, 6'2", 240, 4% body fat, repping 365 on the bench, squatting 500, and I bring them in, and
the
I'll bring 'em
mobility is
into a-
not there.
Gassing.
Yeah.
They're gassing out.
gassing out,
Yeah.
and like I'll
And
bring
they're
them
like,
into,
bro, that was crazy.
dude, they're dripping sweat. They'll puke after 10 minutes.
Yeah.
The cardio for fighting in
Insane.
jiu-jitsu, I don't care how much you run. I don't care how much you go to the gym. Go try to roll on a jiu-jitsu mat for 30 minutes.
It's tough.
And I promise you're going to be like, holy shit, this is
You're
way
gonna
different.
sweat more than you sweat in your ever life.
Yeah.
I always say this: the adrenaline in jiu-jitsu or in MMA, it's so much different from other sports. Ever since I was young, I've rolled. I have a cousin that is nasty.
Yep.
I haven't won for him since.
Yeah.
And I was always in the team sport. I was a soccer kid,
Yep.
but I always played the team sport. But doing something one-on-one is something completely different.
Yeah.
It's only you there. You don't have your teammate. I mean, obviously you have a whole team behind you, but like when you're one-on-one with someone, that's all on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the whole type of adrenaline, and especially jiu-jitsu, how it's more strategic instead of strength.
Thinking ahead, yeah.
Thinking of head, this is going to lead to that. That's going to lead to this.
Yep.
It's a whole mind game.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
with jiu-jitsu and combat sports is like Eric was saying, you need to go against someone. It's a one-on-one thing, but you need to go against someone that's better than you. 'Cause
Yeah.
if you don't go against someone that's better than you, you're never gonna get better. That is the key to if you want to get into that field, if you want to start training and stuff, guys. Go for someone that's always better than you. Yeah, they're gonna be you. I've got my ass beat so many times I can't even count. But guys, every single time I lost, I learned for why I lost, and I made it better, and I learned how to not make it happen again.
Yeah. I love that. Love that. Iron sharpens iron. It's so true. And like there's no bullshitting on the mats. Like that one-on-one sport, like it's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that can bail you up.
Nothing.
There's no bullshit and there's no lying.
It's either you tap or you go to sleep, baby.
It's truths. It's truths. It's truly like either I'm gonna get myself out of this or I'm fucked.
Yeah.
Or I'm tapping out.
And it translates over like big time into life. Like,
Yes.
that's
It
what
really
I
does.
really like loved about jiu-jitsu. And I haven't been doing it too long. I've been doing it like little over 2 years. I do mostly no-gi jiu-jitsu.
I love
like,
no-gi. That's my favorite
Yo,
too.
but
Yeah.
but still, dude, 2 years is amazing. There's people that go one class and just doesn't come back.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because
Kyle's
they
a
see how
man of
hard it
commitment.
is.
Yep.
They see how they see the amount of cardio you gotta have.
Yep.
Because they think, oh, I'm gonna just blow out all of my energy and strength in the first minute, knowing they have 3 or 4 more minutes to roll, and they're gonna be there huffing and puffing.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And
It's truly pacing
It's-
yourself.
But also being intimidated, like when you go for the first time, it's like you go in there and then, for example, if you do keep losing or you're going against these people, and then like, especially if you're like a big guy, you're this big confident guy or girl even, you go in there and you go against some dude that's $125 and he's tossing you around the room like it's nothing, and you're like, what
Dude.
the hell is going on, dude? It's a
crazy.
completely different game.
It's
Hell
crazy.
yeah.
And that's like it's wicked humbling, but it's it challenges you, and that's what I loved about it. It's never-ending learning.
Always.
It's never-ending learning. It's something that you can always get better at. The journey's never over. It's great cardio, and it's something that it totally makes you. Some days you walk out of the gym and you're like, damn, I kicked ass tonight. I did really well. I tapped a couple dudes. I didn't get tapped tonight. And some days you walk out of the gym and you're like, man, I got my ass kicked. I got my ass kicked.
Hand
But
it to me.
that's what makes the sport beautiful.
Hell yeah.
You know?
Kyle, I left this for last too, more closer to the end of the episode because talking about working hard, goals, challenges, everying, right? But you always have to reward yourself. You always have to make sure you're treating yourself. You always have to make sure that you're also giving
I
yourself
know
those.
it's coming.
You always gotta make sure. You always gotta make sure you're throwing those little gems towards your way, so you feel good about what you're doing.
Yep.
It's called the little trophies of life, right? That keep
Exactly.
you going, keep motivating you. So, I mean, I'm a big car guy, you know, and you're a big car guy.
Yeah.
Your wife drives a dope car. You drive an even doper car. Like, bro, talk to us about like treating yourself and getting those accomplishing the cars and all that.
Yeah.
Like, how important was that to you?
Big time. That was like
First, what do you drive? Tell us.
I have a 2022 M850. Grand coupe, so the 4-door.
And what is your wife driving?
She has a 2022 Q8. Yeah.
Thing's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's my next one. I already told Thais. I was like, that's the next one.
Dude, I'll go back and forth on ours.
The Q8, man, I love that.
Your car's sick.
but how important is that, Kyle? I mean, to have those little trophies. I mean, I don't mean to put you on a spotlight, but I see a dope watch on your wrist. You know, I mean, clearly, man, working hard gets you there.
Yeah.
But how important are those little things for you?
Yeah, it's something that I was taught. I was taught early. When you start to have success, like celebrate your wins. You know, like that's
It's not the priority, but it has to come.
Yeah, without a doubt. Like, for so long, I was doing really well and like saving all my money, and like you definitely want to save without a doubt. But I remember my dad told me one time, he goes, "Man, when are you gonna stop and smell the roses?" I was like, "Shit,
Work.
You're right. Like, man, okay, you got to have some nice things." And I've always been a car guy. Like some people are really into vacationing. You know, like they're big travelers.
Experiences. Yep.
I love traveling. I love vacations, but I take like 2 a year, if that.
Yeah.
1 to 2 a year.
Yeah.
Hustler.
Some people love traveling. They're like, oh my God, I'm going to go take 3 weeks here. I'm going to go to Europe and backpack and travel and all this stuff. And that's where they save and spend their money.
That's their passion. Yep.
That's their passion. Some people love clothing, which I love clothing too. But some people, like I know some people that really love clothing, and
Where it's like a whole nother game.
that's their thing. Or shoes, you know, it's like boom, oh dude, he's got like 30, 40 pairs of shoes, fresh kicks. That's also a blast. But cars was always like my thing. I always loved, like, ever since, and my buddies would laugh, man, because like ever since I got my license, I always made sure I had something kind of cool for a car. Yeah. I wouldn't consider it cool today, but it was cool.
But in
at
that
the
moment,
time.
that time that you're living, yeah,
It was cool, and I tried to make it as cool as possible. Like I'd save the money, I'd tint it. Like I always worked since I was like 15, so I would save money. I'd tint it. I'd do an exhaust. I'd get the rims.
Everything.
I'd get the cold air intake. I'd
Kyle-
put the touch
the
screen
midnight
in.
club pack.
I was about to say, Kyle's been modifying cars since Need for Speed.
Facts, literally, dude. Those games are like my favorite.
The best games, bro.
And you know, I always loved. I loved driving fast too, which was better.
Adrenaline rush.
That's talking
Been
about
a little bit of an
experiences.
issue too.
But that's an experience in itself, you know. Like when you're in
Yeah.
that vehicle, man, it's just a whole different. Like you're feeling
It's
the motor
unreal.
and the sound, and you're just like, it's a therapy too. I feel like, you know, 'cause sometimes people go out for a drive just to blow some steam.
Yep.
And
It's
sometimes
fun.
people think that you buying that expensive car, you having that dope watch, you dressing well, you having the nice shoes or traveling, it's not to flaunt for other people. It's to
yourself.
do it for yourself. It's to keep motivating you.
Definitely.
That's the bigger purpose behind it.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Like you're working so hard, and as long as you're hitting your goals and you're crossing things off your to-do list, your to-do list of life, you
Priorities.
you can treat yourself in those things, and they give you an either, like all this stuff, like I'm a big law of attraction guy, right? Like big law of
We
attraction.
talk about
guy.
that a lot here, yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm
Speaking
huge
things to
into
existence.
that, man. Yeah, big time, dude.
Yeah.
And I'll obsess over it, man.
Hell
like
yeah.
I'll obsess. Like I obsessed. I had, I was telling Eric, like I had that car built, sitting in my like Google favorited page for like 2 years since the 8 series came out.
Ready to pull the trigger.
I was like, I'm gonna get that car. I'm gonna get that car, and like I'll take it so far as like I'll feel what it feels like to sit in it.
Yeah.
I want to close my eyes and picture like what it's gonna feel like when I drive it, and what people are gonna say when they see it, and like all this stuff. And like I'm a big law of attraction guy. I did that with the multifamilies. Like I would think of, okay, what's it gonna feel like when they drop the keys in my hand? What's it gonna feel like when I walk in and or tell people? You know?
Book that talks a lot about that, and all for the listeners that want to actually kind of go deeper into that, is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And it's my third time listening to that book. And man, they talk a lot about that.
Yeah.
Feel that feeling.
Yes.
Envision that thing. Envision that whatever you want, and feel it before you even have it, because it will become reality one day. Truly, you manifest it and you put it out there, it's gonna become reality.
That's true.
Big time. That book's phenomenal.
I love that book, man. It's the third time I'm doing that. I love that book.
Man.
That book has so many gems in there. It's
so
insane.
true.
It's insane.
Like the people that are the best at that can keep that vision as alive as they can in their head, are the most successful. But yeah, cars. That's always been my thing. So I'm a big car.
Wrap it up.
Yeah.
Last one.
Yep.
And boys, if you guys want to bring anything else in, definitely talking about life challenges.
Yeah.
You know, I love talking about the sunny days.
Yep.
But the biggest reason why we wanted to bring people here is to be people that are out there going through a tough time, that they're struggling, that they're maybe emotionally, mentally, physically, financially, whatever it is.
Yep.
There's a way out of that.
Big time.
You know, there's hope. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel, right? The sunny days are great, but the rainy days are the ones that truly teach you what to do.
Yep.
So what is maybe like something that really marked your life, of a challenge that you went through, but that didn't let you go down, and you kept your head up, and you, not even to do with mortgages, but just in life in general. Like, do you have maybe something on top of your head that you went through that you feel comfortable sharing with us, that you said, fuck this, I'm going to keep my head up and I'm going to keep going?
Yeah, big time, man. Like, ever since like I hit like high school, things didn't go my way, man. Like I wasn't getting good grades. I was like getting in trouble and stuff like that. And then, you know, I was like partying too much. I was drinking too much. I was smoking too much. And I was young, man. I was like 21, 22, 23 years old. And when I was in my early 20s, I got a DUI, man. And that was really tough. Like that kind of like rocked me a little bit. And I knew that drinking was like becoming an issue because it was affecting my life. Yes. You know, it was making it so my life was kind of becoming unmanageable, you know, where it was a thing where I knew life wasn't as good as it should be, you know, and it was kind of like
artificial.
Yeah, man. And it was just a kind of a way for me to feel comfortable.
We were filling that void with that.
Moment pleasures. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which that's one of the things that holds human back a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And that was a big wake up call, man. A DUI, like that sucked. Like that was awful. That it was brutal. Like you lose your license for a good chunk of time, cost you a ton of money.
Yeah.
Always relying on people after that.
Yeah, totally. Oh my God, dude, it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
But so I haven't taken a drink. I haven't drank in 7 years.
Wow. So
Yeah, that's my thing. Thank you. Yeah. I don't drink, man. I don't drink. That's like my thing is.
Good, man.
I'm on that boat too. Like I'm not a big fan of drinking. Like I'm just.
I've been free of alcohol for 2 weeks.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
There we go.
Ever since I started going to the gym, I said I'm done drinking.
Yeah. I've been free of alcohol 3 days.
Eric just had a Miami trip, guys.
Eric just came back from Miami.
Yeah, so I went down to Miami to watch UFC 287.
At the Saudi and Pereira this past weekend.
No, wait.
I'll
And
show you.
he didn't just go watch it. This guy was like 10 rows,
Yeah.
like
He
up.
was there.
I saw
That
the
was-
man getting knocked
Bro,
out, bro.
that fight.
That was one of the best cards and fights I've
First of
ever
all,
seen.
Here it goes.
I'm glad he did this.
Here it goes.
Go back and watch. He said that this guy's about to wrestle. He didn't do any
Bro,
wrestling.
okay, so listen to this.
He didn't even do any wrestling.
wrestle.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, with Andre.
We'll run that episode
So,
back.
wait,
We'll run that
wait,
episode
We'll
back.
run it back.
I went to go watch that fight with Andre at Brian's house.
Brian's
Shout out
house.
to Brian. We went to go watch it at Brian's house, and Can you guys believe I bet on that fight? And one of the things I bet was I would get $900 back on my $50 that the fight would end on submission. There's no chance that would happen. But the odds, I know it was, but
dude, on a card like that, dude, you can't even bet, bro, because there's so many good guys.
Bro,
man.
there was 4 knockouts.
Yeah, a crazy card. One of the best I've seen.
Insane.
And that fight was one of the best fights I've ever
that
seen,
guy's a
ever.
magician.
Dude, and the energy there too.
If you really watch UFC and you really watch the way these guys feints, the way these guys set these moves up, the way that Adesanya basically played possum. He played possum. He made him come in. He saw how the way Alex is always after every combination he lowers his hands.
Yes,
and if you know all about this stuff, you will understand way much more, guys.
You know what's the bigger message behind that? Huge. Always know your competitor. Always know who you're going against.
Nah. Even more than that, know yourself. Know yourself. Because when you're a fighter, dude, you saw everything Izzy said leading up to that fight. He said it's all or nothing right here. He knew he was going to win that fight, bro. He knew, like, once I saw him walk in, the way I looked at, bro, you saw me saying, I saw his face walking. I was like, bro, he's winning. He's not going to lose. He is not going to lose.
He also knew he also knew he was going to win the first 3 as well.
Yeah.
And look what happened.
That's fire.
Dude, like I said, dude, I love Adesanya. I love Alex. To be honest, I became Alex's friend. I became Alex's fan when he basically got into the UFC. I didn't really follow kickboxing a lot, but this guy, I really thought that he was gonna do the 4-peat. But the thing is, bro,
so humble.
The one thing that I don't like about Adesanya, bro, and how like, dude, it's one and done. It's one and done. I settle. What does he say?
He doesn't count score. He settles it.
Yeah, he doesn't count scores. He settles it, and it's just that little irk, bro. That just like my friend. You lost 3. I understand you won, but like
but
you know what I mean?
There's more that goes into that loss 3, bro. If you really watch those fights, it wasn't a definitive loss,
bro. But what's the point of the fucking sport if you don't come out with a W?
Because, bro, they fought already twice in the UFC.
Dude, it's just like you play soccer, right? You playing soccer,
that's different. That's different.
No, check this out.
Kyle's like, the temperature is getting hot in here.
You have a 70% possession the whole game. You hit the post 5 times, and then on that last minute, because this happens a lot, on that last minute, that guy scores.
Yeah, but that's the fight game, bro. It doesn't matter. It's getting caught. You get caught in the last.
It's all sports.
That's what happened with Adesanya in the last fight. If he didn't get knocked out in the last fight, he lost. Of course, he lost. But TKO, he was gonna win that fight if it went to the decision.
Got the serious
he was
face
dominating that whole last fight, bro. He was jabbing him the whole time. He was controlling the fight. If he didn't get TKO'd in the last couple minutes, whatever it was, he knocked him out or rocked him hard in the first round, bro. He got saved by the bell. If there was 10, 15 more seconds in that fight, bro, it would have been done.
What do your teachers talk about if and buts?
Bro, it doesn't matter.
Let's put an end to that conversation. Great conversation.
If I jump off this building, I might get hurt.
Bro, you're missing the point. You're missing the point.
Bro, you're missing the point.
Just do a quick recap,
Wait, you got something here, Andre. Hold up. Nah, bro.
So funny.
Guys, to do a little recap again. First thing we talked about was property purchasing process. Make sure you get the right people by your side. Make sure you hit up Kyle, guys. He's the best out there. I trust him 100%. Hit him up because he's definitely going to walk you through that full process. Programs, incentives was the next subject. And again, guys, there's plenty of programs out there to help you out, even in situations that you don't even think you have a way out of, okay? Another one was talking about lifestyle. Have a balance. Don't just work hard. Don't just chase money. Don't just chase the fancy car. Don't just chase the fancy watch. Don't just chase the fancy house. Chase family. Chase growing in every aspect of your life. Mental health is very important. Physical health is very important. Working out, which you touched on every point, man, that we talk about in this podcast.
Yeah.
And then last is really talking about the challenges, right? I want you guys to take Kyle as an example. The guy went from a DUI at 22 to now becoming who he is today. I don't give a. I'm not going to swear here because I want this to go out as
I'll do it for you. Fuck.
I want this to go out there and put the video out on this. I don't care where you're at. I don't care how bad of a dirt pile you're on. Pick yourself back up. Find solutions. Don't find excuses and don't find reasons to why you can't do this. Find reasons to why you should do it. Okay? Again, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And he's a great example of that, man.
Amazing.
I mean,
Thank you,
we're
man.
talking about
Thank
9
you.
properties. We're talking about helping multiple people's lives. We're talking about changing people's dreams and truly, man, making a difference in what you're doing here on this earth. And you go more than just mortgages, man. You're helping people accomplish goals in their life that they never thought they would be able to do. And I guarantee you, man, you're a blessing, man. And thanks for all the knowledge you
man.
dropped here
Thank
today.
you.
Thanks for your time. Thanks for driving out here, because I know that wasn't a close drive. And it's you have a family. It's already what we're about.
We ran this episode a little longer.
This
than
is the
usual.
longer podcast.
this
This
was
is the
fun.
longest podcast.
I knew it
we've
was gonna
done.
go long.
And we just
Bro,
said that
as soon
too.
as I got the energy,
Kyle
we were
Kyle said that earlier. He's like,
this
Rich,
one's gonna go long.
we're gonna have to cut
Go,
this.
bro. I love this.
So you know, man, this is the longest podcast we did, but honestly, I think we were super productive. Everyone, I want to split this one into sections
Heck
because
yeah.
to help people kind of see what they want to look at. And at the end of the day, guys, again, keep liking, keep subscribing, keep sharing, keep commenting, But I mean, if you're down the street with your friend and they're struggling with something, bring them over to our podcast, because I'm pretty sure we will have someone here that will help you out. I don't care what the situation is. Let's go. It's high in power all day. It's always growing to better, and it's never being worse. It's always improving yourself. I said this on the reel this week. It's improving yourself 1% every day.
Yep.
Because that 1% here,
that.
1% here, 1%
Adds
here,
up.
1% here becomes a big result. So chase it, don't stop, and keep going. I have some announcements before we end up, but boys, take this up.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, Kyle, bro. This
Yeah,
was
man.
like I'm even just hyped with everything we talked about, bro. Like you
That was
opened
a
my mind
blast.
so much, bro. So I really appreciate the knowledge you dropped today. And yeah, dude, Richie said it all, man. Thank you so much.
Heck yeah, my pleasure. My
Yes,
pleasure. That
Kyle,
was a
thank you
blast.
so much, man. Honestly, I had so many questions that you answered. You know, all the information basically came into this here, but then I left this one. You know, it's concrete, whatever it is, concrete on my brain. And thank you, man. Thank you for your time. Thank you for, the ability for you to come here and spread the knowledge that you have, man.
Heck yeah. Thank you, guys. I mean, that was a blast. I knew that was going to be a blast.
That
Dude,
was
and we'll
awesome.
have you on again, talk a little more about,
I was
just
gonna say,
just like
yeah.
MMA stuff. Because me and Eric have been trying to kind of set up an episode. We
Yeah.
just talk
Oh,
about,
dude.
just more stuff like that,
If
you know?
do
how it
like
just
a
went off?
strict, like MMA,
Bro, we can talk about that for hours.
have me.
Yo,
Yeah.
next time you come,
I'd
we'll have
love
a
to.
jiu-jitsu mat here and we start rolling.
We'll do some instructionals.
Yo.
I don't know who would buy 'em.
I have a big announcement here. Talking about challenges and problems that sometimes show up, but you find solutions, right? I'm gonna share this here. I already talked to him. He knows that I'm sharing this. Our editor, JP, he's here through a visa. And one of the things he has to do through that visa is take classes. So unfortunately, he got put on a class that he had no option to change the time on that class or day. So we will be transitioning our podcast from Thursday 8:30 to Wednesday 8:30. So for all you guys that are out there, I know it's going to be a little bit different. You guys have been used to it. I mean, another thing we didn't talk about, we hit 2 months today.
Yeah.
2 months today podcast.
8 episodes.
Congrats.
Thank you everyone who's been supporting us, because we wouldn't have gotten here without you guys. But at the end of the day, we're doing this for the best for you guys, for us, and also so we can keep this alive with the same momentum, because I don't want to get anyone else to do the job because he is the man.
Yeah, it just goes back to the team that we built.
It's the team that's
He
gonna
was
be
here
here.
since the ground up, so he's going to stay here.
And we're not going to accept anything else but that.
Yes.
Of course, if life happens, we get it, but we're going to try our best to make sure we keep our team intact.
But guys, like Richie said, nothing is changing
Nothing.
except the day of the podcast. So instead of Thursday at 8:30 p.m., it's going to be on Wednesday, 8:30 p.m. Still live, still the same boys, still the same crew.
We're going to be posting.
Still high in power,
We're going to be
baby.
doing announcements on this
Yeah.
all week. I have a flyer going out tomorrow announcing every day that we're changing it. I'm sorry that we're changing the routine on you guys. Consistency is key. We're still going to be consistent, but we're just changing the day.
One day, bro. You know why? We were just bringing it one day before, because they're so
Middle
excited,
of the week, yeah.
We want to get you guys closer to the beginning of the week.
Real quick, before, because I feel like sometimes I forget about this, about giving back real quick. Do you want to tell about the little giveaway you and Winter
yeah,
Properties
Brian,
got going
yeah.
on?
Oh yeah. Yes. So we have a free tattoo giveaway, and as you can tell, everyone here, we
like
would all
tattoos.
want it.
Real quick on that
We would all
tattoos,
want
right?
it.
You guys got a giveaway. One of
Yeah.
the questions was, Kyle, what's your favorite tattoo?
Oh, my favorite one.
That's always
There's
a
a
hard
lot,
one, dude.
yeah.
I think it's this one, man.
Yup.
I think it's. I was telling Andre about
is that?
this. I got this in Italy when we got married. It's my wife's initials and our wedding date.
Beautiful.
Oh man, dude, this was like
That's
the coolest
cool.
experience. I got it in Venice, Italy. It's my smallest tattoo, but that's got to be.
There's
my
a deeper
favorite.
It wasn't the actual tattoo itself, but the experience of the tattoo, man. That just
Totally.
made the whole
Next
thing.
episode, we'll get
whole
deeper
thing.
into that. So
Yeah.
the giveaway, tell us about it.
Yeah, so we are doing two free sessions, which is pretty sweet.
long?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Maybe-
I mean, two
maybe how
sessions,
long
I'm
you
guessing
can
it's gonna
last.
be, yeah.
I think maybe like
I got 8-hour sessions.
I think it's four hours.
2
I
hour
want to say.
sessions. Yeah, it's probably like a piece.
He'll
of
have
this,
it.
just
He'll
like-
have it out on the flyer with more
Yeah.
details. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So you can check either my Instagram or Brian Silva's Instagram at Winter Properties Group. And if you look at the video instructions, it will tell you that you've got to enter. So it's a raffle, right? So if you follow us, the Winter Properties Group, the tattoo company, it's the one right in their building. I'm drawing a blank on the name.
Body Art Studios.
Dude,
One of the tattoo artists is
unbelievable
Gaps, I
studio.
Yeah,
believe,
one
right?
of our boys works there.
One of our
Oh
boys.
my god,
Yeah.
dude, what a sick studio!
Amazing. It's so sick.
Oh, it's in like that old
The Saxonville Farms,
Yeah,
yeah.
dude, that building is sick.
Sick.
That's where Winter Properties Group is too. But what a cool studio, man. So the tattoo giveaway is with them. If you follow their shop. Winter Properties Group. The instructions are right in the description of the picture. But we are going to be doing the drawing of the raffle on Marathon Monday. So I believe.
So
I think
coming
that's
this
coming
yeah,
Monday.
this coming Monday.
Yeah. So enter. There's still chances to enter, and hopefully you get a free tattoo
Yeah,
session.
guys, who doesn't want a
Be sick.
tattoo
Also,
if you're looking for you?
for anyone who wants to join this giveaway, at the end, once we're done here with the pod, you guys already know we put a reel out a story out at the end with the guest, and Kyle will be putting on his tag. What do you call it?
Just his socials, his tag and everything.
The handle, the Instagram handles
yeah.
for him, for Winter Properties, for Brian as well. So you guys can all get on this, and guys, get tatted. You guys should get high and power tatted. That's what you guys do.
There we go. That'd be sick.
Can I take us out?
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right. I just want to send my condolences again to the Deros family. I love you guys so much. You guys took me in like I was your own son, and I love you guys so much. I am so sorry for your loss. If you need me for anything, even if you don't need me,
Yeah.
if you need us, I'm always going to be here for you guys. I love you guys so much. I wish you all the best. Rest in peace, Brian. Love you, guy. High in power to the
Power,
top.
baby. Let's go. Love you
Shama.
guys. Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you
everybody.
guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Yes, sir.